Okay, y'all. Imagine this: the best sports podcast in the world, the best sports channel in the world. We bring together the 16 best debaters on the internet. We split them up into 4 divisions, 4 debaters each division. They go at it for 4 weeks. And then we do the playoffs. That's what we have right now. You don't have to imagine it. Today, we have a star-studded event. We're going to start the first debate off with our very own Marz taking on Zeezy. I hope y'all get ready for this. I hope y'all are prepared because I'm telling you, this is going to be everything y'all asked for and then more. Before we get started, I want to remind y'all, this is how the voting is going to go. After each topic, we will put the poll up. You vote on the poll. But if you don't get the chance or if you need some time to think about it, come back, leave your vote in the comments. We have some special AI that will go through and take care of all of that for us. So your vote will count up until the next 4 weeks. Without further ado, I'm going to introduce one of our first debaters, very own Zeezy. Zeezy, what's up, man?
What's good? Ox was good. Chat, PC Nation, stand up. How we living? How we living? It's about to be a good one, man.
Great. How you feeling, Zeezy? I don't know if you've heard. Do you know how Marz thinks his debate's gonna go?
Yeah, I know. That's cute. You know
You
me, I don't really do too much talking. I'm here to debate. So
no doubt. We got a humble Zeezy today, y'all. Okay, y'all get ready. Zeezy, I'm gonna bring Marz up real quick. I'll bring you right back. We're gonna get started in about 45 seconds. Marz, my man, what's up?
I'm good. I know it's like 3 p.m. for you. I'm here 11 p.m. I'm chilling.
Okay.
I'm chilling. It's cool. Shout out to
Okay,
Team
so
USA. Shout out to Team USA.
oh yeah, did that. So how's your confidence levels today, Marz? Last week I heard some things, or are you just as confident now as you were then?
I mean, yeah, I'm comfortable. I mean, it's inconsequential. I'm in the playoffs anyway. So, but yeah, I mean, I'm looking forward to however this may go. Let's act like we don't know the result. However,
and you like all the topics we got coming?
Absolutely not. But I'm fine. I mean, I feel like I can make. I've always said I pride myself on my ability to make a case for anything. So we're gonna put that to the test.
Okay, no doubt. I'm bringing Zeezy back up right now. We're gonna get started here so in a very couple minutes, right? Couple seconds. I'm sorry. Our first topic is Ray Allen versus Klay Thompson. Who is the better shooter? Marz, you have Ray Allen?
Indeed.
Okay. So, who's gonna go first? Marz, I got the coin right here. Call it in the air. Heads or tails?
Tails.
Heads it is. Marz, you want to go first or second?
Well, it's not. Well, I lost the toss, so Zeezy picks if he goes first or second.
Don't worry about that. Marz. We're not doing it like that. Don't worry about the coin. What do you want to go first or second, Marz?
Oh, okay. So if I go first now, I go second in the next round.
Yes.
I'll go second.
Okay. Zeezy, you're going first.
But
you have Klay Thompson about who's the best shooter. JD, can we get that time up? Oh, wait. Okay, my bad. Once you clicking on, when you start, Zeezy, the time will start.
All right, for sure.
All right, let's get it, guys.
So when I looked at the question, I thought to myself, this is greatest, better shooter, not better player, not better career, better shooter. And when I started to look in the numbers, I started to think to myself, all right, well, I think it might be Klay. I mean, shit, Klay Thompson in his first season in the NBA shot 41% from 3 on 4 attempts. Now, he proceeded the next 7 seasons to shoot 40% or better from 3. It took Ray Allen 4 years to shoot 40% or better from 3. And Ray Allen had an 18-year career, so there's a lot of, great three-point shooting along the way, right? In 18 years, Ray Allen shot above 40% 8 times. Klay Thompson did it in his first 8 years and did it again in 2023, the year that people were calling him washed and shit, when he went out there and led the league in threes on 10.6 attempts a night and shot 41% from 3. Crazy work. When you think about some of the best shooting performances of all time, A lot of the times when you look at the top of the list, Klay Thompson's name is attached. You talk about 60 points in under 30 minutes, only player in NBA history to do so. Talk about 14 threes in an NBA game, a league record. He did that in 3 quarters. And then we could talk about 37 in a quarter on 13 of 13 from the field, 9 of 9 from 3. That is the greatest heat check in the history of this great league, bar none. So when you're really starting thinking about all of the things that Klay Thompson has done on the court as a shooter, and then you compare it to Ray Allen, who had an 18-year career, shit, I have no problem saying that it was Klay. No problem at all.
Ooh, I guess it's only right that we started out talking about shooting because Zeezy came out sniping. Marz, I hope you're ready to rebuttal that. The time will start when you start, Marz.
I think the conversation about shooting we have to decipher what shooting is. So you got the skill of shooting, then you got the value of shooting. They're 2 different things. But I think we can all agree shooting is definitely more than threes. We understand Bruce Bowen is not a better shooter than Kobe Bryant, despite 3-point percentages. We also know that the one universal indicator of shooting historically has been free throw shooting. It's a shot that never changes. From 1950 to 2024, it's the same shot. For their careers, Ray Allen shoots 89%, Klay Thompson's at 86%. In the playoffs, 88 for Ray, 85 for Klay. The best 3-year stretch Klay Thompson has is 90%, but Ray's at 92%. But that's just the little tip of the iceberg. I think the most important thing when you talk about the skill of shooting is how many shots can you generate for yourself. And that's where you really see the discrepancy start to show his head. For his career, 7.3% of Klay's threes are unassisted. For his career, 16% of Ray's are unassisted. So Klay Thompson is not generating his own threes. If you look at the peak of Klay, the most he's ever generated is threes, 9.2% of the time. Ray Allen peaked at 22% of the time. And that's just for threes. If you want to go jump shots in general, Ray Allen was creating 40% of his own jump shots at his peak. From 2000 to 2006, more than 40% of his jump shots were self-created. Klay Thompson peaked, and when I say peak, I mean peaked at 21%. 21% of Klay Thompson's jump shots were created by himself. He was someone who routinely relied on other people to create shots for him. So yes, he shot 40% from 3 early on in his career, and yes, he shot 40% from 3 last year. But he peaked at 9% of his threes being self-created. And for his best ever stretch of jump shots created, 1 out of every 5 jump shots were created. Ray Allen was creating 2 out of every 5 jump shots for himself.
That was a heck of a round 1 to this first topic. Let's get round 2 going. Zeezy, bring the heat, brother. Bring the heat. You were muted. Okay, start now.
Right. So we're talking about peaks. I knew Marz was going to bring up some numbers that nobody in the chat even remotely thought could possibly be brought up. But he did. So to his credit, there it is. When I think about peaks, though, when I think about these two, Ray Allen in his peak for the regular season, I think his peak threes attempted, I think was in the 06 season at 8 attempts a night. And he shot 41%, 42%, I want to say. Klay at his peak in the regular season shot 10.6, as I mentioned, in 2023. And what did he do? He shot the same exact percent as Ray Allen did during his peak. So when you really think about it and you bottle all of that up, you could talk about the shot creation aspect. When I look at Klay Thompson and his versatility as a shooter, I think to myself, well, we can talk about him as a first option. You talk about as a second option and a third option throughout his entire career. Even though his first option sample size is very, very small. I remember Klay Thompson in the 2016 playoffs against the Portland Trail Blazers in a series in which Curry played, I think, 1 or 2 of those games. Klay Thompson walked away from that series averaging 31 a game on 50-50-90 shooting splits. That's a small sample size for a first option Klay Thompson. Then when we talk about second option Klay Thompson, as I mentioned before, 37 and a quarter as a second option. Third option, Klay Thompson gave you the record for threes and 60 in 3 quarters as a third option. So you can plug in Klay at pretty much any one of those options, first option, second option, third option, and he can still give you efficient shooting. We can talk about how he gets the shot or what way he puts the ball in the air. Fuck that, bro. Fuck that. Klay Thompson shoots the ball more than Ray Allen does and at a better clip.
Good points. Marz, it's on you for the second round. Let's cook. When you get started at the time, we'll start with you.
I'm going to wait till round 3 to address all of that because it's a whole diatribe of things you have to get into with that. But I want to talk about next, once again, with the skill of shooting, the importance of shot quality and how that affects your numbers. Because obviously we understand percentages can be determined by a bunch of things, including your ability, but including your teammates' ability to get you good looks, especially in Klay's case, because obviously we know only 10% of his threes are self-created. So I did a little bit of research, did a little bit of digging. Since 2015, Klay has played 11,000 minutes with Steph Curry, and he shot 43% from 3 in those minutes. Wonderful. But in the 6,600 minutes he's played without Steph, he shot 39%. Interesting. Then I looked at Klay's prime. I was like, okay, let's look at Klay's prime, because obviously he's declined in recent years. From 2015 to 2019, Klay shot 44% with Steph in 8,600 minutes, but he shot 38% without Steph in 4,000 minutes. So yes, he has those games against Portland where he goes crazy, but there's a 6% difference between Klay Thompson shooting with and without Steph. So I was thinking, does Ray Allen have a similar imprint like that? So I was like, who's the best playmaker Ray Allen has played with? Rajon Rondo. So in the 9,000 minutes Rajon Rondo played with Ray Allen shot 41% from three. But then without Rondo, in the same time frame in Boston, Ray Allen shot 40.7% from three without Rajon Rondo. Ray Allen is a guy who doesn't rely on other people to create him good looks, so he can shoot just as well with and without anyone. Klay Thompson, the numbers would suggest that's not the case. The eye test would suggest that's not the case. But yeah, we can just blindly use percentages and ignore the context of them. That's fine.
Okay, y'all. That was the first 2 rounds of this first topic. So far, I love what I'm hearing. The people love what they're hearing. This third round of this topic, I need y'all to bring it home. Let's go, Zeezy. When you start, the time will start.
Marz, I can't tell if I'm looking at Marz or Victor Wembanyama with the way that you are reaching like a motherfucker right now, bro. I don't understand what's going on. Don't deduct points for cussing. I'll tone it down, but let's get back on point here. What we're talking about here with me is what you see with the eye test. Y'all know how Klay is at the end of the day. Y'all know what y'all see when y'all look at the box score. Marz can dig as far into the advanced stats and true shooting percentage and 16 feet and 20 feet and with Rondo and with whatever. I don't care. All right, this is a guy in Klay Thompson. When we talk about consistency from three, 8 straight years of 40% or better from three, in comparison to Ray Allen, who couldn't even get to 40% in his first 3 years. So what are we talking about here? Consistently, Klay Thompson has given you high volume and great efficiency from three. Consistently for his career. As a matter of fact, he has more seasons of shooting above 40% from three in his career so far than Ray Allen does in 18 years. Ray had 8 seasons of it. Klay had 9. So you can point to whichever angle you want to point to, but at the end of the day, what the eye test tells you, it may not tell you something, Marz, but it tells me what I know, and that's Klay Thompson is a better shooter than Ray Allen at the end of the day. You can talk about catch and shoot, transition, pull up, whatever. Klay Thompson's got that man beat on percentages and attempts. There's no other way around this, but you, of course, would dig into, NBA.com or Basketball Reference or whatever, but just stick with what it is, Marz.
Marz, let's bring it home. Let's bring it home. When you ready, the time will start. Let's get it.
For 3 rounds, Zeezy has said Klay shot 40% a bunch of times. That's what he's done. But I wanted to bring up this point in round 3, the importance of relative to error. In 2015, the start of Klay's prime, 19 players shot at least 10 threes per 100 possessions. By the end of Klay's prime in 2019, that number had grown to 28. In Ray Allen's prime, when he was shooting 10 threes per 100 possessions, he was one of 2 players to do so. He was shooting 43% from 3 while doing that. The other player was Jason Williams, by the way, shooting 29%. That was the equivalent of an 130 offensive rating in the year 2002. By 2006 and 2007, Ray Allen was one of 4 players to do it. He was shooting the most volume in the league and some of the highest percentages in the league. And the key factor and why this is important is because of the impact it has on team offense based on the era in which you play. Zeezy loves pointing to 40% from 3 because he knows that that's the nice little arbitrary number people like. But we all know that 40% from 3 creates more value in 2000 than it does in 2015. You know why? Because offenses around the league have gotten better, which means 120 offensive rating means more in 2000 than it does in 2015. So Ray Allen's threes in the stretch of years where he was shooting 8.4 attempts per 100 and shooting 43% was generating an 129 offensive rating at a time where the league average was 104. Ray Allen threes were a plus 25 offensive rating relative to what the league was producing, and that's the reason why the 2001 Milwaukee Bucks had a better offense than the Kobe Shaq Lakers, spearheaded by Ray Allen shooting. Klay Thompson can't match that level of impact because he's in a league with much more volume shooters. So yes, you can say Klay Thompson shoots more and he shoots a good percentage, but when it's relative to what they were doing at the time, Ray wipes.
Yo, JD, can you drop that poll in the chat? Drop that poll in the chat. Chat, you got 1 minute and 30 seconds to vote. Make sure you're voting for who made the better points, not for who you think is the better shooter. Make sure that we vote on points, not preference, okay, y'all? Use your think box, vote correctly. In the meantime, let me get to some of these super chats. You know why? Because I'm a dub host. We got the first one from Alan R. He says, L Ox W Debate League. Luka better than anyone your franchise has ever employed. This is a crazy time to throw jabs at the Kings. I mean, we got so much more important things going on right now, Alan. Get a life. Dame the Great says, Marz accent about the carry. Zeezy, do you think that Marz accent will carry him through this debate?
I mean, Marz has probably the most iconic accent on PC, so probably. But I mean, it's one of the most recognizable accents, maybe. I don't know.
So far, the poll is leaning in Marz's favor. Hey, but don't forget, y'all, you can always come back to this throughout the next 4 weeks. You can leave comments on any video that you see these two fellas in, and your vote will count. We got a special AI that's going to go and tally up votes for the next 4 weeks. So this isn't your last chance to vote. Let's get prepared for this next topic, though, y'all. The next topic we have is, I'm sorry, y'all. Next topic we have, I have it right here, is the 2000 Spurs versus the 2017 Warriors. Marz, you have the Spurs. Zeezy, you have the Warriors. Marz, I believe you're going first now, right? You went first. Yep. Okay. So without further ado, let's keep this going. Also, I want to say this, y'all. W basketball. W basketball. Let's get it. Let's get it. This is exciting. Hell of a debate. Good job, fellas. Let's keep the heat going. Marz, the time will start when you start. Let's kick it.
Obviously, you guys can see this is the one I was complaining about. But I do believe when you talk about comparing teams, it's crucial to show consistency. And when you talk about the Spurs in the 2000s, the 2003 Spurs are statistically the 9th best postseason defense ever. That's a team that won a title carried by Tim Duncan. They followed that into 2004, being the best regular season defense of the three-point era, post-1980. If you don't remember, 2004 is the year that mighty Detroit Pistons team existed. The Spurs had a better defense than them that year. And then in 2005, they ended up having the best defense in the league again, while being one of the 5 best defenses in the postseason every single year. The reason why I make this point and I emphasize it so much is because the KD Warriors, Zeezy will talk about 2017, but the KD Warriors never showed that level of consistency on defense. In 2017, they were number 2 in defense. That was great. But then by 2018, it was number 11. And by 2019, it was number 13. The 2000 Spurs built their identity on an all-time great defense where they outperformed some of the all-time greatest defenses in the playoffs and in the regular season. And they did that for a prolonged stretch of time. The Warriors were not able to match that level of dominance on the defensive side of the ball. And as we all know, defense does win championships. And that is why the Spurs were able to maintain at the top and be relevant for as long as they were. In a Western Conference that was a gauntlet at the time. There is a reason why there's only 2 teams to beat the Kobe Shaq Lakers while both were in their prime. One is the Spurs and one is the Pistons. What do they both have in common? 2 of the best defenses we've ever seen. Only one seems to get that recognition, though. I wonder why. I mean, there may be some bias to it, but yeah, defense is definitely the pillar in which the Spurs are better than the Warriors.
Okay. That's round 1 for Marz of this topic. Zeezy, here goes your round 1. Let's get it, bro. When you start, the time will start.
All right, off record. That was cute, Marz. I know you ain't. I know you ain't even want to defend this team, but you did your best. I ain't gonna lie. Look, but when you look at the 2017 Warriors, chat, what are we talking about, bro? We're talking about the 2017 Warriors and the 2000 Spurs. The 2017 Warriors are a team not only with 2 All-NBA caliber players, scratch that, 2 MVP caliber players in Steph Curry and Kevin Durant. You have arguably the 2nd best shooter in the league at the time in Klay Thompson, best two-way 2-guard in the league maybe, and the best defender in the league in Draymond Green. Marz talked about how their defense was number 2 in the league in 2017. He is right. But then he started talking about 2018 and 2019. We're not talking about 2018 and 2019, nor are we talking about 03, 05, or the 07 Spurs. And even if we are, it doesn't matter here because what we're talking about really is the Golden State Warriors had the number 1 offense in the league, number 2 defense in the league, and third highest net rating in NBA history. This is a team that when we're talking about constructual offenses and offensive schemes or however you want to call it, there is nothing that the San Antonio Spurs in the year 2000 can do on offense that would absolutely bamboozle the mind of an opposing team's defense in the way in which you have, if you're sitting there looking at Kevin Durant with the ball in his hand, Steph on the wing, and Klay in the corner. Your head's on a swivel because you don't know what the hell to do. If you want to put your attention and your focus on Steph, KD, Klay, you got to watch out for Dre and his passing and all of that. The Warriors team has too much on offense to even be compared to.
Had to cut you off there, Zeezy. You were cooking though. Before we get into the second round of this topic, I do want to let y'all know that Marz did win that first poll. I forgot to mention that. My bad, y'all. Marz, second round of topic 2. Time starts when you start. Let's get it.
Beyond consistency, I think the second most important thing to do when judging teams is talk about the competition in which they faced. The 2005 Suns are the best relative regular season offense of all time for a team that got past the first round, and they're also the best playoff offense of all time. The Spurs dismantled that Suns team in 5 games, obviously. This is a team that went against the top 5 defense in Memphis. They had a +10 relative offense relative to their regular season performance. Against the top 10 defense in Dallas, this same Suns team had a +4 relative offense. But then when they ran up against the Spurs, they underperformed their regular season expectations. That's a big part of the reason why the Spurs were able to beat them. But that's not the only team they faced that was elite competition. They also played the Seattle Supersonics, who were the number 2 offense in the league that year. And some people might scoff at the Seattle Supersonics. But guess what? That Seattle team had the same relative offense as the best team that KD Warriors team ever played, the 2018 Rockets, a +6.1 relative offensive rating. The best team the Warriors ever played was just on par with the Seattle Supersonics offensively. And guess what? That Spurs team held that Seattle team 5.5 points below their regular season standards offensively. And that's another reason why they beat that team. But that's all about what offensive teams they stopped. Who did they play in the finals? The 05 Pistons, an all-time great defense, who no one was able to score more than 1 point per possession better than that Pistons defense. What did the Spurs do? Perform 2 points better than expected against that Pistons defense. When you talk about competition, the Warriors never played a top 25 offense of all time in any 3 of their rounds. Any 3 years of KD, they never played a top 25 offense. They never played a top 25 defense. The Spurs did it in 3 rounds in 1 year. In 1 year, they played 3 of those teams in 1 year.
Let's go, Zeezy. Round 2. Let's cook. Let's cook.
Well, all of that is great, Marz. I'm actually glad that you were able to pull up the statistics of the other team. When you look at the Golden State Warriors, they went 16-1 in the postseason, and that one loss that they had came at the expense of the Cleveland Cavaliers putting up an NBA record 24 threes made to beat that Warriors team. Ladies and gentlemen, let me reiterate. The Cleveland Cavaliers had to make 24 threes to even get a game on this team in the postseason. Had that not happened, they would have went undefeated. You might as well call him the Undertaker. What are we talking about here? So to your point about the San Antonio Spurs, I get that you could say that they matched up against top 25 offenses or whatever. The Golden State Warriors lost 1 damn game off of the biggest heroic effort that you could possibly sum up as the opposing team going up against this unit. We're talking about big 3 in Steph Curry, KD, and Klay Thompson. Steph and KD both in the regular season averaged 25 points per game, respectively. Klay Thompson averaged about 22, 23 as well on the side. You had Draymond Green doing his thing as well. Kevin Durant, mind you, Kevin Durant in 2017 is probably the best argument that you can make for him as a defender in terms of him actually improving. He averaged about 2 blocks a game that year, if I'm not mistaken. And then we go to the playoffs in which Steph and KD both averaged 27 a game throughout the entire run. And then to the point where we get to the NBA Finals, and like I said, you have both of them going shot for shot with each other, game 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. So what are we talking about?
Last round of this topic. As soon as this round is over, we're going to drop the poll. Y'all make sure to vote. Vote quick. You only got 1:30 to do so. Vote on the points made in this debate. Don't vote on your preference. Marz, let's get it.
I mean, yeah, it's nice to say they went 16-1, which they absolutely did. They did beat the Portland Trailblazers, the Utah Jazz, a Spurs team that had Kawhi get hurt in game 1, and then they beat the Cavs 4-1. And like you said, that 24 threes heroic effort from the Cavs is their 1 loss. Yes, I agree. But like I said, once you go look at the teams in which they faced, yes, 16-1 is possible. But that's what happens when you never play an all-time great offense and you never go up against an all-time great defense. The Spurs can't go 16-1 when they play the best offense of all time, another offense that's on par with this 18 Rockets team. The only team that sent that Houston team, that sent that Warriors team to 7 games is the Seattle Supersonics level offense. That's the only team that's ever managed to do it. So this Golden State dynasty that was so unbeatable nearly came faltering down against the team that was just as good offensively as the Seattle Supersonics in 05. And what did the Spurs do? They dealt with Seattle. Because guess what? The Spurs are a team that just win games by any means necessary. If you win a series in 7 games or you win a series in 4 games, at the end of the day, you're holding that Larry O'Brien trophy. So yes, they didn't go 16-1, but they beat much tougher competition. They didn't go up against injured teams, and they did it in a way that was sustainable for a prolonged stretch. KD was only there for 3 years, but the Spurs were competing for titles in 99, which isn't part of the 2000s, so I haven't spoken about it once. But then 03, 05, 07, while being in top seeds in that conference every single year, that sustainability is something that the Warriors struggled to deal with once KD was gone. Once KD was gone, it was 2020, terrible. 2021, missing the playoffs. This sustainability and what made the Spurs so dominant was every year they were in the title fight, and they did it against greater competition.
Zeezy, it's time to bring it on home, brother. Let's get to it, man. When you start, go ahead.
So let me get this straight. Are we talking about who's the better dynasty, or are we talking about who the better team is? Either way, if the Spurs were so good, how come they didn't go back-to-back Marz like the Warriors did in 2017 and 2018? How about that? That's crazy work. But you want to talk, and then the fact of the matter is, in 2019, even if Kevin Durant's healthy and Klay Thompson is healthy, do the Raptors beat the Warriors that year, or do they win 3 straight? Interesting. We would be talking about the Warriors doing something that the Spurs didn't do, which is go back-to-back in 2000. Or win 3 straight. That's something that they didn't do. Now, let me ask you this question. If we're talking about the competition relative to the competition that they went up against in the playoffs, is that the Warriors' fault that they had to go up against the Jazz and the Pelicans and the Spurs or whoever? Like, is that their fault that they had to go up against the Spurs? And then you talk about Kawhi Leonard. That's the dumbest argument that I've ever heard in my life. Kawhi Leonard going down in game 1 cost the Spurs the entire series. So the series is over after one game? Crazy work. I find it hard to believe that the Warriors wouldn't, even if the Spurs were to win game 1, they wouldn't figure out a way to turn everything around. But that's just me. You're talking about a team that, like I said before, you could talk about the San Antonio Spurs and their consistency, but the fact is they weren't consistent enough to even go back-to-back. The Warriors were consistent enough to do so. And when they did it, it took, yes, the Rockets missing 27 threes or what have you. But then when they got to the finals, they went ahead and swept LeBron James. So the way I look at it is the Warriors were able to do something that the Spurs weren't, which is to go back-to-back.
Oh, man, JD, drop that poll. Drop the poll in the chat. Y'all make sure to vote. I will remind you, you can always vote after the next 4 weeks. Let's get these votes in. Let's get these votes tallied. Yo, it's only 70 degrees out here, and I'm hot. I need a cold drink. It's getting hot in here, y'all. It's getting hot in here. Man, that's a heck of a debate for y'all. Heck of a debate. We will get to this next topic after this poll is done. How'd y'all feel about those topics in that round? How'd you feel about that topic right there?
Marz, come on now.
Like I said, I think I can make an argument for anything. I think I came at the best angle I possibly could. I don't know what more you want me to do against the 2017 Warriors.
My question is, was it who's the better team or which was the better dynasty? Because better team, 2017 Warriors or 2000s. What are we talking about right now? So what was the question? What was the question?
Zeezy, I'm filling in right now, brother.
All right,
I'm pretty sure it's the best team. That's what I saw. I don't know. I thought y'all spoke to Ron about this before, but either way, that was a hell of a debate. Either way you look at it, you know what I'm saying? Y'all both did your thing, and that's what the PCL is all about. Really pushing us to our limits, getting the best arguments possible. And I think both of y'all did that right there. I'm extremely, extremely impressed. Y'all make sure that vote is going to be wrapping up here in 3, 2, 1. In the poll. Oh my, Zeezy pulled that out 50-49. Right now we got it 1-1. Marz got the first round. Zeezy pulled that round out. This round is for all the chips. We got 2003 draft versus 1984 draft. Which draft was better? Marz, you got 84. Zeezy, you got 2000. Opposite.
Yeah, opposite.
Wait,
my bad.
It says which draft is better or which draft is more impactful.
I got you right here. Okay, I'll make sure to do it right. My bad. I got y'all. It says 1984 versus 2003. Which class had a better impact on the NBA? 84 or 2003? Appreciate y'all checking me on that. It says Marz, you have the 84 class.
That is incorrect.
I don't.
Well, okay, that's just the information I got. If that's not right, y'all know better than me. So Marz, you got the 2003. Zeezy, you got 84.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, that's the information I got in front of me. Somebody sent me that today, so I'm just reading off, doing my job. Okay, Zeezy, you're going first, correct?
I think so, yeah.
Yep. 84 draft. Hey, y'all. Last one. This is for all the chips. Zeezy, you got the second round. Marz, you got the first round. Zeezy, when you start talking, the clock will pop up. Let's cook, brother. Let's cook.
All right, so for the 84 draft, the question's asking which one was the more impactful. And honestly, this is literally turning into LeBron versus Jordan, but we're not going to make, me and Marz ain't going to do that. We're talking about the draft as a whole, all right? So 84 is top heavy for sure. Don't get me wrong. You have Michael Jordan. Don't even need to explain that. Hakeem Olajuwon, arguably the greatest defensive player of all time and a consensus top 10 player of all time. You have John Stockton, a consensus top 30 player and all-time leader in assists and all-time leader in steals by a healthy margin. You have Charles Barkley, the round mound to rebound, I believe number 5 in offensive rebounds all time, made it to an NBA Finals, won an MVP. Only reason that he lost is because he ran into Jordan, but it is what it is. When you think about the rest of the class, though, it's not as deep as 96, but they do have some good pieces in that mix, right? You got Alvin Robertson, who was a one-time depoy, right? One of the best perimeter defenders in the league at the time. Otis Thorpe, Sam Perkins. They had pretty solid guys on the back end, but a very, very all-time ranked top heavy draft in Michael Jordan, Hakeem, Stockton, and Barkley at the 4. When I look at 03, I think LeBron, yeah, Wade for sure, Melo, okay, Chris Bosh, what was he, one-time All-NBA? What are we talking about here? And then from then, with Darko Milicic, what are we talking about here? The top heaviness of the 84 draft just clears the 03 draft. They may have started super teams, that's great, but we got 2 guys who were in the top 10 all-time consensus in Michael Jordan and Hakeem Olajuwon. It's 84.
Marz, Zeezy's applying pressure, bro. Let's get it, man. Let's get it.
I think what's important to discuss when we talk about impact is what is impact. For me, it's history, it's legacy, it's the future ramifications, it's how it's changed the landscape of the NBA. So yeah, Zeezy eloquently said why the 84 draft class had some all-time great players. But I'm gonna start with the number 1 pick. I'm gonna work my way down. So obviously LeBron James, we know he was being called the chosen one. I mean, I know everyone's seen the interview where the guy says, if you want a first ballot Hall of Famer, you will be considered a bust. Never before have we seen someone come in with that level of scrutiny, that level of expectation, and then he exceeded them. A 4-time MVP, 4-time Finals MVP, all-time scoring leader. He's the first Olympic men's player to hold the flag for Team USA. That's history. That's legacy. That's impact. That's from the 2003 draft class. We've never seen something like that. Big time talk shows like the one you're watching right now, like ESPN, like Undisputed, like First Things First. They built their foundation of talking about one man, LeBron James. What draft class does he come from? 2003. Look at how we spoke about Bronny James in Summer League. Why did we talk about him so much? Because of LeBron James. Where did he come from? 2003. Everything changed from sports media, from the way we talk about the NBA, from the way anyone has a voice on anything on June 26, 2003, when that man from Akron, Ohio stepped foot in the NBA on an NBA team. That is when everything changed. The league was never the same before or after. That man's imprint on the game is more than just Hakeem being top 10 all time. That's great, but what did he leave behind? What did he leave behind? LeBron James is going to leave a world where people were employed for talking about LeBron James. Skip Bayless is 962 years old, solely employed to talk about one man. LeBron James created jobs for people. That's impact from the 2003 class.
Round 2, let's kick it off, Zeezy. I'm not going to stop this momentum. Let's go.
I didn't think that Marz was going to spend the whole damn round talking about LeBron, but I was expecting you to start talking about the other guys. Come on now. I mean, when we talk about 84, we're talking about Jordan, Barkley, Stockton, Hakeem. All 4 of those guys were on the 1992 Dream Team. We're talking about impact, ladies and gentlemen. Name one Olympic team that had a higher point differential than 1992. I'll wait. Oh, shit. None of them. Anyway, let me get back on point. When we're talking about impact, Marz, there is more than just one man in a draft that is making up that impact. With Michael Jordan, I don't even need to go down the list, but I can if I want to. 10-time scoring champion, cool. 6-time MVP, 5-time MVP, 6-time Finals MVP, 6-time champion. We can do that. Hakeem, 2-time Defensive Player of the Year, 2-time Finals MVP, 2-time champion, right? 1-time MVP. Charles Barkley, 1-time MVP. John Stockton, 5-time all defensive type of player in John Stockton right there, along with the best assist man in basketball for the next 15 years straight, right? So what we're talking about here is essentially what draft had the biggest impact. The 03 draft class outside of LeBron and D Wade and Bosh teaming up, that was cool. That was cool. What Melo do? What Darko do? Kyle Korver was in the second round, I believe. That's cool. That's cool. any of those other three guys outside of LeBron have a bigger impact than any of the three guys I named outside of Jordan in the league? I wonder. I seriously do. You can make the argument for D Wade for sure, but where does Carmelo rank for y'all all time? How about Chris Bosh? I'll wait for sure.
I'm not gonna slow you down, Marz. Keep it rolling.
I feel like Zeezy forgot we had 3 rounds. LeBron deserved the night, so LeBron deserved the whole round. It's LeBron James. But once again, I think what makes the 03 draft class the most impactful, and you skipped over it, LeBron, Wade, and Bosh teaming up. Yes, it's not just, 3 guys teamed up. That changed the future of the league. Player empowerment became a big thing because of those 3 teaming up. Once again, we talk about impact. Why did KD feel comfortable to go to the Warriors? Because LeBron, Wade, and Bosh made it possible for players to decide their own destiny. That is impact. That is changing the way the game is played. When they teamed up in 2010, 3 members from what draft class? 2003. They teamed up. They took matters into their own hands. Toronto's not building around me correctly. Cleveland's not building around me correctly. Hey, D-Wade, do you know what we should do? We should team up and take things into our own hands. Forget these GMs. No one was doing that before those 3 did it. No one was doing it before the 03 draft class came in and changed the way players and teams look at things. What did Iman Shumpert say? Those 3 ruined the league. Now, whether you like it or not, the impact is there. Kawhi going to LA and then saying, I'm only coming if you get me a second star. What does that mean? That puts pressure on these front offices. Does Kawhi do that without the decision in 2010? I don't think so, because no one was making those decisions before. Those 3 from 2003 decided to step up and make the change. It's a big reason why guys like Oscar Robertson are so impactful, because they are the ones who are willing to take the stand. It's great. Oscar Robertson was the first one to sue the NBA for free agency. And who was the first group of people to really take free agency into their own hands? Those 3 from 2003. So yeah, you can say, where do they rank all time? That's fine, but all-time ranking, you said John Stockton's 30th of all time. I guess what? They're going to talk about that big 3 decision more than they're going to talk about John Stockton. I promise you they will.
Holy mackerel. This is a fire debate. This is your last round of your last topic of the day. You two fellas have one job, and that's to make this round felt. Let's get it, Zeezy.
So the question that I have for you, Marz, is you're talking about the 03 draft class, and you're talking about Wade, Bosh, and LeBron like they were the first ones to ever shake up free agency in terms of a super team being formed. No, if you want to make that argument, you might as well make it for the 96 draft class with Ray Allen, right? Kevin Garnett and Paul Pierce with that trio right there. That's what shook the league up. That's what helped have LeBron, Wade, and Bosh say, hey, you know what? Maybe we should team up together. That would be fun. That might be nice. And of course, it led to the Clippers' failed attempt at winning a championship. You brought up Kawhi and Paul George, like that shit worked out. That was terrible. That shit turned into a dumpster fire by year 3. So I guess if you want to say that they started that shit, what did they exactly start? Who helped reciprocate that outside of Kevin Durant going to the Warriors? No one. So it's an interesting point, but whatever. Let me get back to the 84 draft. When we're talking about impact on the league, the 84 draft class had Michael Jordan, arguably the most influential player of all time, helped influence and helped globalize the league. All the European players that y'all are seeing in this year's Olympics, right? You notice how when you look at the 92 Dream Team and all the players that they went up against in Olympic competition that were still in the league, right? In comparison to this year, where did all that start from? Maybe the impact of the 92 Dream Team, right? Maybe the impact of what that team was able to do, along with Michael Jordan helping pave the way for players to understand, hey, look, you can be the greatest player of all time for one team. Oh, I'm out of time. God damn it. Fuck.
JD, drop the poll. JD, drop the poll.
Damn.
Somebody got a fire extinguisher.
Damn.
Somebody got a fire. Go ahead, Marz. No, you got it, Marz. You got
my time.
Wait. Not yet. I don't know, JD. My bad. I said drop the poll. I meant to say get the clock ready. Marz, you got it. Whenever you start, you'll start. This is fire.
Yeah, I think Zeezy is talking about Melo. What did Melo do? What did Melo win? I mean, I think you just wasted your last round, to be honest. But I want to talk about, because once again, what I say about impact, storylines, what ifs, hypotheticals, all of those things that go into the impact of a draft class. The Darko Milicic Melo debacle situation is something that will be spoken about for decades. We speak about it on this very platform. What if Melo went number 2 to Detroit? Because we all know Carmelo is one of the greatest scorers we've ever seen, 28,000 points. But what is it we talk about with Melo? He never won a ring. but we all know where he could have won a ring. And guess what? Chauncey Billups has spoke about it. Rasheed Wallace has spoke about it. We spoke about it on this platform. We only talk, and what draft class is that? 2003. Darko going number 2 is a stain. It's a bad thing. It's a bad pick. But the impact it's left is all the conversations we're able to have about the 2003 draft class. It's crazy. You never even brought up Sam Bowie going over Michael Jordan. You know why? Because even though it's crazy, just like Darko, no one cares. But you know what they do care about? Darko going number 2, because we know the ramifications it had for Carmelo Anthony. And when we talk about guys like Carmelo and D-Wade, they might not rank as high as Hakeem all time, but Carmelo gets the respect from all of his peers, just like Hakeem does. Carmelo is one of the greatest scorers you've ever seen, just like Hakeem is. Now, he might not have all the accolades, and that's great. But when we talk about impact and legacy, it goes beyond accolades. It goes beyond what you've achieved. It goes beyond how people remember you. And Carmelo is someone who will be remembered forever. Darko Milicic will be remembered forever too, for maybe the wrong reasons. But hey, if you're going to be a bust, at least be one someone talks about. Sam Bowie don't get spoken about because no one cares about the 84 draft class like they care about the 83 draft, like they care about the 2003 draft.
Now you can drop the poll, JD. Now you can drop the poll. Somebody bring out a fire extinguisher. Yo, chat. Marz didn't get 4 rounds. I misspoke. That wasn't Marz didn't get 4 rounds. He got 3. That was a great debate, y'all. Great debate. I mean, those 2 of the best draft classes we've ever seen. I mean, that can go either way. I'm impressed. I'm thoroughly impressed by you two fellas. I really am. Man, so after this poll wraps up, you guys will get kicked off the stage, and we will bring up MTEL and Pirate for the next debate of the day. I'm gonna tell you the truth. Well, I want y'all to tell me. Well, which day started with more heat? Sunday or Wednesday? You
kicked off Wednesday, right?
No, Casual and Uncle Rufus.
Oh,
no, the Rufus. I mean, sorry.
Respectfully,
yeah.
we click. Respectfully.
Who the way Sunday is starting, man? I don't know. Golly,
it's gonna be tough to follow. It's gonna be tough to follow.
Mm-hmm.
Y'all make sure y'all
that's against each other.
Make sure y'all are voting in this poll right now, y'all. But if you don't, you can always come back to this video or any video that you see one of these two fellas in. You can put your vote in the comment section. We got an AI bot that will go and tally it all up. So you don't got to worry about it being miscounted. It's going to be okay if you don't get your vote in. But all 510 of you guys here right now, I need you to vote on this poll. Who won round 3, Marz or Zeezy? Don't vote for draft class. Vote for points that these two fellas made. No bias.
No bias.
Okay. Ooh. Looks
you
like
lucky I
Marz
had to argue for the Spurs. I'm just well.
It looks like Marz took that one in a very convincing fashion. Yo, fellas, you guys did a hell of a job today. Thank you guys for showing up. Do any of you have anything you want to say before I boot you off the stage?
The chat saw the topic that I didn't want. I feel like I argued it valiantly. I feel like watch it back. You'll see. I think I made some good points. But Zeezy, you did good. Shout out to you. Now that we don't have to go up against each other anymore, I'll show you some more love. Everything I said was obviously in jest. I don't think you don't know basketball or anything. Obviously,
Zeezy, you called you the Wizards.
I know what he said.
But we all know it's just building up suspense for the showmanship, man.
Look, I'm not gonna sit up here and cap like Marz ain't that nigga, bro. Y'all already know I show love to everybody at PC, who I know these like Ox said at the start of this, these are some of the best debaters on the internet, bro. On the internet. So me going up against Marz today, they knew what they were doing. I may have lost that last one. I wish I had an extra round. I really do, but it is what it is.
Right.
Marz, we get you a good run for your money, brother.
No doubt.
It was good. I enjoyed it.
Appreciate you fellas, man. We'll see. We'll catch y'all next time. Y'all stick around, vote on these next battles, get in the comment section. Check y'all next time. All right, Zeezy. All right, Marz. Guys, we'll be right back after this brief intermission with our next 2 debaters. Y'all stick around.
Kentucky woman, she gets to know you, she goes to own you. Kentucky woman, she gets to know you, she goes to own you. Kentucky woman, she gets to know you. She goes to own you. Kentucky woman, she gets to know you. She goes to own you.
I don't know what y'all talking about in the chat. That was hard. Somebody said L music. Somebody told you wrong. Guys, like I said, we are at the PCL Players Choice League. This is debates. The top 16 debaters on the internet have come here to debate for y'all. Make sure you are voting on these debates. Make sure you hit that poll. Get into the comment section and leave your results. Who do you think won? Who do you think won? Now, that first debate was insane. Shout out Zeezy. Shout out Marz. These next two guys we got coming up are going to be just as hot, just as ready for battle, just as locked and loaded. You guys know the young brother MTEL. He was a wild card here. Let's bring him up real quick. Get a quick intermission. MTEL, what's up, dog?
What's up with you? What's up with you, Ox? How you doing, man?
I'm chilling. You ready to go today?
Yes, sir. I'm more than ready.
Okay, you got anything you want to say to the people? Any words?
First off, is it okay if I shout out where I'm from?
Do your thing. It's all
All
love.
right. Hey, shout out to all my homeboys because they was telling me about they was seeing me on the show and stuff. They were like, "Hey, man, shout out South Carolina, man. Hey, shout out my boy Navy. Shout out my boy Quan." They wanted me to give them a little shout out, so I got y'all, man.
No doubt. Okay, MTEL, I'm gonna bring you right back up. We got another guy who MTEL is battling today. Somebody that y'all been begging to see again. He's known for cooking low, cooking the open gym panel 1 verse 9. The man, the myth, the legend. Pirate, what's up, baby?
What's up, Buttercup?
Tell it, man. You ready to go today?
I'm ready to go. Yeah. How you been?
You're not bringing the energy, Pirate.
You know me. I'm an old man, man. I got weak knees. I need to warm up here, but it's all right. It's all what happens in the fourth quarter.
Okay, no doubt. MTEL, Pirate.
Yes, sir. How you doing, man?
MTEL.
Hey, how you doing?
I got a coin, MTEL. Call it in the air.
Tails.
Who cares? You want to go first or second, MTEL?
I'll go second.
Second. Okay. Y'all first topic. Who's the better defender? Kawhi Leonard or Scottie Pippen? MTEL, you got Kawhi.
Yes,
Pirate,
sir.
you got Scottie. Okay. MTEL, you said you're going second, correct?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, without further ado, y'all, let's get straight to it. Hey, Pirate, the time will start when you start cooking. Let's get it.
All right. Yeah. I mean, this is not really a debate. This is an intervention for all the people who apparently haven't seen Scottie Pippen, the most dominant defensive wing that's ever played in the NBA. How do you get there? Scottie Pippen is by far the more superior athlete over Kawhi Leonard. It's not even close. Scottie Pippen's peak reached higher and longer than Kawhi's, and frankly, Kawhi is not physically capable of reaching the peak that Scottie Pippen did. On top of that, his peak lasted longer than Kawhi's entire career, and all you have to do is watch the film. Scottie Pippen, Kawhi is physically incapable. If you look at their blocks, a Kawhi Leonard block, 90% of them are going to be below the rim. Scottie Pippen, all of his blocks are well above the rim, coming down with the power of Thor. He's faster, quicker, much more vertical space, took up much more space on the floor. Scottie Pippen was a Tasmanian devil. He would guard the point guard 94 feet, come down, swing out to the wing, and a lob to the paint. Scottie Pippen's there to face up against a 7-footer and block his shot above the rim. physical ability, what he did in the NBA, and the length that he did it, it's not even close. This is not a conversation.
Okay. Well, Intel, looks like you're debating against Thor. You ready for that? Let's get it. When you start the time, we'll start.
Okay, so he was talking about Scottie Pippen. It's like Thor. I mean, that sounds good in theory, but in reality, when you look at it, if you go in peak for peak, who was actually the better defender, it's always been Kawhi. Everything about Kawhi that you see defensively, he has a second brain in the back of his head. We seen him do steals without even looking at the ball. We seen him be able to pick up on reads. We seen him be able to make defensive plays that we honestly never seen some people do. It literally looks like a robot, like how they call him. I will say that him having more defensive player of the years while also being hurt more also tells me that he actually would have to be considered the better defender of the two. The fact that he probably would have won 4 or 5. I mean, he really, injuries is really the only thing that's ever held him back. But if you actually watched him play year by year, he was always the stronger defender. Scottie is also great too. I would put Scottie right behind him actually. But I would have to say just the strength of him having more defensive player of the years, him basically just always being the change defensively for his team. Every team he's ever been on defensively, all the way up into the time he's been on the Clippers because of the injuries, they've always just been a top-tier defense. They've always been elite. They've always been a championship contender just off of one side of his basketball play. That's also led to the other side of his basketball play. That's not even like including his offense, obviously. And I just think his two-way ability, his ability to play off ball, his ability to play on ball, his ability to play in the post-ups and all.
Good round. I'm not going to stop the momentum. Keep it going, Pirate. Let's get it.
Yeah, if you watch the film, there is literally nothing that Kawhi Leonard can do defensively that Scottie Pippen doesn't do better. It's literally everything. So you want to bring up the 2 defensive players of the year? Let's actually look at this. Kawhi's led first team defense voting twice. Pippen 4 times. First team all defense. Kawhi 3 times. Pippen 8 times. Funny fact, Pippen has played more NBA games as a first team all defender than Kawhi has played in his entire career. You want to look at those depoys? Let's look at who he was getting them against. All right. Sure. Kawhi beat out Draymond. Who else did he beat? Hassan Whiteside, Paul Millsap, Avery Bradley, DeAndre Jordan. Pippen was 5 times in the top 4 in Defensive Player of the Year. What were the names he was going against? Hakeem Olajuwon, David Robinson, Gary Payton, Mutombo, the greatest defenders in the history of the NBA. Kawhi Leonard's depoys, like Pippen wouldn't do that. Pippen, the competition that he had, he played in the defensive era, and he was the best defensive wing for longer than Kawhi has played at all. On top of that, he's got a better VORP. So, I mean, that's game over right there. Better VORP.
Okay. Intel, I'm not going to hold you up. Let's get right to it.
Okay. By the way, you also forgot Rudy Gobert when you were talking about names he stole the DPOYs from, but I understand. What we have to say, although Scottie Pippen has played more games, I will give you that. He's also had a longer career to be able to do that. I don't know if you based it off of up to this point in his career, but we're going off a whole sample size, a whole career compared to a sample size of Kawhi. But if you look at it, Kawhi every single year was always in mentions for DPOY outside of the times when he's been injured. He's always been somewhere close, as long as since about 2017. He's always been top 5, top 10, somewhere in the conversation every single time that you hear him talk, every time that you see him. His impact defensively just can't be really can't be matched. If I had to choose a first team defender to choose, I would choose him. I actually do think he may be one of the best wing defenders of all time. I believe that he has shown that he plays in a higher pace. We play in a different era now. Yes, it's more higher pace. For him to be able to have defensive teams and be able to be that impactful defensively while playing in a faster era, while playing in a less defensive era, as some would say, being able to be somebody that can play that level of defense to the point where you can't really notice the difference, I think all of that really matters for Kawhi in that sense.
Okay. Left a couple seconds out on the table. It's all good. This is the last round of this topic. Let's bring it on home, y'all. Hey, Pirate, the time will start when you start.
Yeah, I mean, I think we just need to cut through the bullshit because you're referring to his entire career as a sample size. The fact is, this man has been hurt his entire career. I mean, let's be real. Kawhi is called in sick more often than a crackhead who just found $20. This guy, on the one hand, you got the most dominant defensive wing who's ever played, playing 35 to 40 minutes every game, 80 to 82 games a year, going to championship runs year after year, and then coming back and playing at MVP and Defensive Player of the Year caliber year after year. Again, Kawhi has 3 years. He was in top 4 for DPOY. Scottie Pippen has 5. Scottie Pippen missed 32 games his first 10 years. Kawhi averages 30 games missed per year. Again, it's like you have an Iron Man in the most defensive era versus Terry Cloth in the softest era. This is not a comparison at all. Again, just look at the film. Scottie Pippen was covered more ground. He was far more physical. He achieved much more in his career. It's not even close. Half of Scottie Pippen's career is more than Kawhi's entire career.
Let's go, MTL. Last round of this topic. Let's get it.
Okay, I feel like some of that is very subjective when you're talking about, oh, well, he just played longer, so by default, that means he has to be the better defender. I disagree with that point because at this point, you have to look at value when they're actually on the floor. Scottie played on the team. Yes, we know he played on one of the greatest dynasties of all time. Yes, he did. He was not the only great defender on his own team. You had at least him and 2 other players that you could debate are some of the best defensive players in the league. I would say him being on a top team where he's able to be with a star-studded team, with a dynasty team that makes it easy for him to look as great as he did year after year. Kawhi has had to be on 3 different franchises. He's been on 3 different teams. He's won a championship on 2 different teams while being the best defensive player on every team that he's been on since he's been in his prime. Where you want to debate his prime is at, that's up to you. But I'll say ever since the year that we watched him play against LeBron, we watched him win a Defensive Player of the Year guarding one of the best players of all time. Scottie has never had to guard the best player of all time, not number 2. He didn't have to guard number 1. He didn't have to guard number 3 or 4. Honestly, the wings in his era, they were good, but they were not as good as the wings that we have in this era today. They're not the same small force. It's not the same shooting guards that he has to guard. I just think defensively, Kawhi has just had more that he's had to do, and he's shown better against better talent.
Hell of a debate, y'all. Yo, JD, drop that poll. Hey, chat, get in there, vote on the poll. I will remind you one more time. You can always vote again later in the comment section. We got the AI taking care of all that. They will tally it up for us. Real quick, we got a minute left on the poll. Let me read a couple super chats. Alan R came through again, said, play some Yeet while we wait. W Yeet. Okay. Almighty Scambo. Carolina boys for the W. Shout out to Carolina. North Carolina, South Carolina, Carolina boys in general. Shout them out for sure. Okay, are y'all voting on the poll? If you're not, what are you doing? What are you doing? What are you here for if you're not going to vote? It's over 430 people in here, y'all. Get in there and vote. Right now, Pirate got a slight edge. MTEL's closing that gap. It's a close one, y'all. Make sure y'all vote. Let's do it. All right, y'all. Great topic, fellas. Great topic. How'd y'all feel about that first round? Y'all nice and warmed up? Y'all ready to go?
Yeah.
Ready to go.
Yes, sir.
Okay. No doubt. Well, We'll be into that in a second. The second topic is about Wilt Chamberlain. Okay. Yeah, that's right, right, Pirate? You look
Yeah.
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 Right.
Yeah.
The second topic is about Wilt Chamberlain and how would he perform in today's NBA. We'll get to that in a second. The poll is over, and they got Pirate by a slight edge, 53%. Shout out to Pirate for taking that first round. If you're rewatching this, if you're not catching this live, if you're rewatching this, leave your comment in the section. You know what I'm saying? Leave it in there. Okay. So, MTEL, you got the first round on this topic.
All right.
How would Wilt Chamberlain perform in today's NBA? MTEL, the time will start when you start cooking.
All right. So Wilt Chamberlain in this era, I think he would be a good player. I personally do not think he would be like a top 5 player, as like some people probably would think. I think if you look at his overall career, you have to look at the impact of the time, the amount of bigs that was in the league at the time. And the only real big that we know to have been on his level from a greatness standpoint always stepped on him. Like always would stomp him every time they seen each other. There was really, he would put up a lot of numbers. And I think the numbers were really a mirage to make you think that like he's the greatest player of all time. A lot of people may get too wrapped up in his numbers sometimes. He has numbers that really don't even look real at times. I think a part of that was a lot of the size in the league was not matched up to where he was size-wise. I think we have a lot more players now that's a lot more versatile defenders, a lot more size in the league now. And I think really era by era, I just think he played in one of the leagues where defensively there just wasn't a lot of people who could really match him size and height-wise that I feel like we'd be able to have now. I do think he would still be a top 10 center in today's league, but I do not think he would be like number 1. I don't think he would be over like a Jokic or an Embiid or anything like that. I don't think he would be over like an AD if you want to include him in there. But I do think he would be pretty good. I think his numbers would be at least half of what he did in his era, me personally. And yeah, that's how I want him in the first round.
Okay. Now, Pirates, on you. How do you think Wilt Chamberlain will perform in this era of basketball? Go ahead and kick it off.
No, first off, that's just completely incorrect about the 60s. There were only 9 teams. Half of the height of the centers was the exact same as it is now, and most of the centers were Hall of Fame. You had Wilt Chamberlain, Bill Russell, Walt Bellamy, Nate Thurman. The competition was at least as good. Far less teams. The compressed talent. Wilt Chamberlain is a goddamn Superman. He would be a prime Wilt Chamberlain would be MVP caliber today. There is no Wilt Chamberlain in the league today. Wilt Chamberlain was 7'1" barefoot, 7'8" wingspan. This man could run a 100-meter dash in 11 seconds. Wilt Chamberlain had high jump titles. Wilt Chamberlain could high jump over 80 inches. You know what that is? That's a fully erect Klay Thompson. He could jump right over him. You know what would happen if Embiid or Jokic tried to jump over a fully erect Klay Thompson? The fully erect Klay Thompson would bring them to the ground. They would stumble all over him. He physically, there is no Wilt Chamberlain in the league today. Physically, there has been no Wilt Chamberlain in the league since Wilt Chamberlain. He's physically the most dominant big man who has ever played in the NBA. Playing in Chuck Taylor's, and the fact that you know a lot of young people can't just recognize that his physical abilities are documented. You can look them up.
Oh yeah, I see where this is going, y'all. This is going to be a hot topic. MTEL, round 2 on you, brother. When you start, the time will start. Let's do this.
All right. Well, okay. So I did a little quick research on the players that you just gave me to look at heights and size. The tallest player out of all of them was still Wilt by at least 2 inches. Bill Russell was 6'10", maybe 6'9". I'm about to say he was not the biggest player. He was just a very skilled defensive player. I'm about to say I'm happy that you want to bring up height and size. They did not have that. He was the tallest player in the league from all of the competition that you're talking about. None of them matched him height or size-wise. Yes, he was an amazing athlete. I know he was a high jumper. He was very strong. He was a very good player all around. I'm not trying to diss his game. I'm not trying to say he'd be bad at all. But if I look at it from a skill perspective, we know he was a terrible free throw shooter. So the idea that you could hack or shack him in this era is another way to limit how good he could be. I don't think him as a passer would be good enough to be able to play out of double teams like how they would be bringing with him. I think it would look very similar to how Joel Embiid looks at times when he gets trapped in double team. I think bringing more size on him, bring more lane defense. He would have to play more pick and roll defense. He would have to play on the perimeter more. They would probably have him a lot more gas. And even if they tried to play through him, although he is a good post player, again, you could just hack him. You could double him. I don't think his passing is good enough to be able to make the plays that you need. And I think his career would look similar in terms of him as a winner.
Let's do it, Pirate. Won't slow you down. Go ahead.
Again, all right, let's look at the skills. Wilt Chamberlain is one of the best passing big men who has ever played. He set an assist record that it took 50 years and multiple changes in the way that the game's even played for anyone to come close, and that's Jokic. It took 50 years. Wilt Chamberlain was able to put up 8-9 assists in a league that didn't have a three-point line, where the defenses collapsed. He did not have spot-up three-point shooters to pass to, which he easily could, because, again, physically, he is more dominant than anyone in the league today. He could, with the speed and quickness and size, he could easily get position in the paint. His post fade is one of the best that's ever existed. His post hook is completely unstoppable. He had the best drop step that we have ever seen that could easily cover between 12 to 15 feet. There are no defenders in the league today that can handle Wilt in the paint. You are going to have to bring help. And when you bring that help, again, Chamberlain was able to get 8-9 assists in a league where he did not have the open space that there is today. Well, Chamberlain would easily be able to put up those assist numbers today. He would be the best shot blocker. He would easily be the best rebounder. Again, like you can say whatever you want about the competition in the 60s, which you are underselling, but the fact remains that his physical ability is still not replicated today. He is bigger, faster, stronger than all the guys who are playing today. You know what a 7'1" guy who can high jump 7 feet looks like?
I had to cut you off there, Pirate. Ooh, it's getting hot in here, y'all. So this is the last round of this topic. Let's make it count. Hit him where it hurts. Let's go.
All right. No, I love where you went right there. That was the one that really gave me this win in this round. See, where you messed up is you brought up he's the biggest, strongest, and you say he'd be the best shot blocker? Better than Wemby? I think not. He would not be a better shot blocker than Wemby. Wemby is already shown in his rookie year that he's already going to be a generational defender. So much so that there's already people that's ready to make him a top 10 player. I'm not one of those people, but there are people who's ready to say that he will be that good. He's projected to be up there like that. Let's talk about Rudy Gobert's of the league. Let's talk about Embiid's on defense. Saying that Wilt would just clear all of them offensively and defensively is just not a true statement. Wilt did not play at the three-point line. He had a very good post game. I'm not going to undersell him in that. I'm not saying his competition was trash or anything like that. But you having to have shorter playoff rounds, yes, the league was more compact then. Also, evolution is a thing that you have to think about time after time. We will now have we'll have film on him now. They'll have film. They'll be able to look at his game. They'll be able to see where his go-to moves is. They'll be able to see where his strengths and weaknesses is. You're underselling how much that matters in today's league. That's why even some of the greatest players can have long stretches where they just don't look good anymore, where you start to question, oh, is he even a top 10 player like how they do with Jason Tatum? That all comes down to scouting. You put the scouting in there, he's not grabbing 50 rebounds a game. That's crazy.
I'm not going to slow you down. Let's keep it rolling. Last round. Yeah,
he doesn't need to grab 50 rebounds. He can grab 20, and that's going to be pretty fucking good. I'm not underselling. Wemby will be a great player. Wemby is 40 pounds less than Wilt and slower and can't get nearly off the ground that Wilt can. I mean, I just think that a lot of you have not actually watched Wilt Chamberlain, and you're not accounting for the advantages that he would have in the modern NBA. Again, just going down to the shoes, Wilt Chamberlain gets to trade in his cotton Converse with no lift and no support. He can wear $200 modern day sneakers. He gets to ride on modern airplanes, and people they look at these old players. You think they're just going to come into the modern era in black and white. You're going to be able to put Wilt Chamberlain on the floor with modern systems, with 4 modern teammates. He's going to have teammates who are able to cover the wing, for him to kick out to threes, much better passing lanes than he ever had while he was getting 8 to 9 assists. This is the whole thing. People say, oh, Wilt Chamberlain's not going to put up the numbers that he had back in the day. Back in the day, he's getting 50 points a game. You don't need to do that. He can drop his numbers to 30 points a game and 18 rebounds and 3 or 4 blocks. He's still one of the most dominant. And evolution doesn't happen over the course of 30 years. Wilt Chamberlain's physically better.
Drop that poll, JD. Drop that poll. Hell of a debate, y'all. That was a great second topic, just like the first topic. Let's see if the voting is just as close this time. Let's go, y'all. We're not voting on how you feel. We're voting on what you heard. No bias, y'all. Just straight facts, straight hoop talk. I love that. Brax the Bandit, a fully what? Yeah, you heard it right. A fully erect Klay Thompson. You heard it right. Yes, yes, you did.
Do you like that one, Bob? That one was for you.
Yes, that's what you heard, y'all. Let's get ready for this third round. Come on, y'all. Make sure you're voting on these topics, man. Look, y'all. This is the PCL, where you come to hear fire hoop debates. The best 16 debaters on the internet in 4 divisions, 4 weeks of battle, and then the playoffs. Where else could you find that? Where else could you find this type of heat? We're talking about Wilt Chamberlain. We're talking about Kawhi versus Scotty. Come on, we're talking about Ray Allen versus Klay Thompson. Real hoop talk, y'all. Get excited. This third round is going to be heat. This third round is going to be heat. I repeat. We got, who is the best international player? Pirate, you got Dirk Nowitzki. Imtel, you got Giannis Antetokounmpo. I expect no letdown in this round. I expect these rounds just keep getting better and better and better. That poll is about to close in 3, 2, 1. Oh, my word. No way. We got a 50-50 tie. Come on, y'all. This I'm talking about straight heat, y'all. This is what I mean. Real hoop talk, real debates, real voting. Now, in order to break this tie, you're going to have to go back on this video. Go on any video you see these two fellas in and give your vote. We got AI bots that are going to tally that vote up. We got to split this tiebreaker. Come on, man. Come on. Let's get excited, baby. This is the PCL. This is what we're here for. Yo, Pirate, you're first this round, right? Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, you are.
I think
Pirate,
so.
you're going first. You're going first. You're arguing for Dirk Nowitzki being the greatest international player of all time. Imtel, you're coming up right behind, arguing for Giannis Antetokounmpo. Pirate, when you start talking, JD's going to start the time. Let's cook, y'all. Let's cook.
All right. Well, this is one of the cases where the answer lies in the question. It's who's the greatest. It's not who's the most athletic. It's not who's put up the most numbers. It's not even who will be the greatest. I'll concede, hey, maybe 5-10 years from now, Giannis will be the greatest. But it's not 5 years from now. It's today. And today, Dirk is the greatest. With 20 years, he has more All-NBAs than Giannis has played. So Giannis is going to need to play a couple more years just get in the ballpark of Dirk's already All-NBAs. Dirk is one of the greatest shooting big men of all time. If all Germans could shoot like Dirk, we might not have won the war. He completely revolutionized the game. He was able to skew the defense. MVP, should have had a couple. Has one of the greatest championship runs that we've seen. I think most people acknowledge that it's probably the best one-man show that we've seen in at least 30 years. And again, he's just done it far longer. Greatness does not happen overnight. You can't just leapfrog a guy because you've had a good run. And Giannis has had a good run. I'm a big Giannis fan. And I think maybe he'll get there one day. But that day is not today, and the debate is today. So today, Dirk is clearly the number one international player.
Well, MTEL, let's go. Let's hear your rebuttal to that.
Okay. So first of all, how many years in a row was Dirk considered to be maybe the best or second best player in the league? Do we want to start there? I think that's a great place to start. I don't think Dirk has never been considered the greatest player in the league ever. Like the whole time that he played, he had to beat Kobe. He had to beat LeBron's. He had to beat all of the different D Wades and Dwight Howards. I would even say these are all people I put in debate with him. Even Shaq. He had to go against all of that, and I understand that is high measures to try to match up to. Well, Giannis has to match up with players as good as LeBron James. He has Stephen Curry that he has to try to debate. You know, he has to try to beat out. You have Luka Doncic, which you know how much people love Luka nowadays. You have Jokic, another big that, you know, is a very great player. These are all very great players. These are hard players to just be number one over. This is not like it's an easy lane to do that. For him to be considered 1 or 2 or 3 for at least the last 6 years of his career, I think that right there is already more impressive than what Dirk has done in his career. I understand career-wise, I'm not matching up career to career, but I'm just talking about if you're just looking at it from a stretch of like just pure greatness and how good is he, him being number 1, number 2, or number 3 for at least the last 6 years in most people's minds, I think right there has already got him over Dirk early on.
Yeah, so round 2, let's go, Pirate, let's go.
Yeah, again, the question is who's the greatest. So yeah, we're matching career versus career. And if you want to talk competition, that's not going to look good because we all know Dirk came up in easily the golden era for power forwards. Dirk's competition was Duncan, KG, Weber, Rasheed Wallace, Jermaine O'Neal, McDyess, Antoine Jameson. He was by far the greatest era of power forwards, and we all know that. You're saying how long has Dirk been at the top? He was at the top for at least the first half of his career. He has 9 top 10 MVP finishes. He has an MVP he should have won in 06. That's another one that Steve Nash got away with, but that's Dirk's MVP. He completely revolutionized the position of power forward to where teams had to completely adjust their game plan to Dirk, and they couldn't do it. For 11 straight years, Dirk headed a top 10 offense with 4 number 1 offenses and 7 top 5 offenses. Because when you played the Mavericks, you were playing Dirk. You had to figure out what to do with Dirk. He was completely unique, revolutionized the position. And yeah, Giannis is very good at traditional aspects of the position. That's not the same as completely changing the position and really leading to what it is today.
Let's go, MTL.
Okay, and you know, I like that argument that you said right there. Where I will have to come back at you with though is although yes, he did play in a golden era of bigs and you know players of his caliber. That does not change the fact of I brought up the whole league. I didn't just bring up one position. I brought up greatest player. He's considered one of the greatest players in the league today. Not just his position, not just center, power forward, shooting guard, small forward, point guard, the whole league over all these other great players. And yes, although the talent for talent, you know, you can go here and there about who you think had the more talented group. I don't even want to try to make that debate. I just want to speak on the fact that you talk about MVP finishes. Well, you know, Giannis has always finished in the top 3 in these past 4, 5, 6 years. You know, it always comes down to basically Giannis, Embiid, or Jokic at this point. And honestly, that I think that tells you all you need to see right there. And if you want to say that's going to stop next year, the year after that, the year after that, I get that you're trying to say his whole career compared to where Giannis is at today. But I'm being in fairness to what I'm seeing at his peak. And at his peak, we know they both have won. We know they both have won a championship. They both overcame a team where we're like, wow. Some people have called one of the teams a super team. The other team called the other team a super team. So you could debate they both be the super team, but Giannis has just been greater for longer. I think it's gonna continue.
This is the last round of the last topic, y'all. Let's leave the people wanting more. Let's cook, Pirate. When you start the time, we'll start with you.
Yeah, I mean, what is this peak shit? We're talking about greatest. That's the whole career. At his peak, Brandon Jennings scored 50 points a game. We're not putting him up with the all-time scorers. Sample size matters when you're talking about the greatest of all time. And when one guy has a complete career, it's 20 years long, you can't just project and leapfrog a guy. Now, look, Giannis is a better defender, but a big reason for that is because he wasn't defending Dirk. Giannis is a great rim protector and help defender. If Dirk's on the floor, all that goes out the window. Now, we've seen Dirk against players like Giannis. One of my favorite power forwards of all time is Kevin Garnett, and it saddens me to say that Dirk's game completely destroyed Kevin Garnett and just destroyed all of the greatest power forwards. And every game of basketball that happened before 2015 was just like Flintstones. It's ridiculous. We're talking about the 2000s. Like, if you want to talk about the talent in the league, we could easily go down all the wings, point guards, centers in the 2000s. This was not like the 1950s. So Dirk played for his position by far the golden era, and
had to cut you. Let's go. Let's wrap it up, MTL.
All right. So now we want to talk about Giannis as a player. Okay, I'm gonna go player for player with you. Yes, Dirk is a great shooter. He was a great stretch big. He was a very generational player in the sense of he changed the game for bigs. He's the reason why I feel like a player like KD is a player today. But Giannis has a very unique play style where I am a Magic supporter. That's my favorite team. We were the first team to play the wall defense on Giannis in the playoffs. We are the ones that made a blueprint for how to even try to guard Giannis. Before then, people didn't even know how to do it. And honestly, if he ever had a team back then that was good enough, we would have seen it year after year. He probably would have kept winning championships year after year, to be honest with you. And I'm about to say, so skill set for skill set, yes, Giannis is a better defensive player. He's a better driver to the rim. He's a better, I feel like, in a lot of ways, he's a better scorer. I understand that Dirk is a better shooter. You could use all the scoring, post-ups. I understand he's a better post player, things of that nature. But I think Giannis is all-around game with the fact that he is probably the second most dominant player, in my opinion, behind Shaq to ever play in the whole NBA. So much so that Shaq is the one who actually gave him the title of Superman. He didn't want to give that to any other big. And I think there's a reason why. He could see that Giannis is that special. He can see how great Giannis is, and I think we all can see that Giannis' overall game just makes him a more greater player than Dirk. Both had a great career, though.
Round of applause, fellas. Round of applause. JD, I need you to drop that poll, brother. Go ahead. Drop the poll. Let's see who gets this third debate. Remind y'all, if you are watching this after, so if you're not watching this live, you can still vote. You can vote on any video you see these brothers in. Any video. Leave your comment. Say, Pirate run this round, Intel run that round. If you say that, the AI will pick up. The AI will tally your vote for you. But right now, let's get this vote going. Right now, it's looking fairly even. Pirate has a slight edge. Let's see how it ends up, y'all. Last round, we had a 50-50 split. What's the chances we'll get another 50-50 split right now, Pirate?
Did my audio go out?
It changed. Like it stopped for like half a second, and then we could still hear you, but it wasn't as loud.
Okay.
They got him.
Well, we still heard you. We still heard you make great points. I'm sure that won't be too much of an issue. We still heard you loud and clear, just not as loud as previous. Both of y'all had great debates, really great debates from that. Of these three topics, which was your favorite topic, MTL?
To be honest, it was actually the last topic with Dirk and Giannis.
Yeah, I like that one.
Yeah,
too,
that was my least favorite. I actually have Giannis over.
right.
No,
Really.
the Kawhi,
But-
Kawhi and Pippen debate, that one was a pretty tough one too.
Here we go.
I
really
have
love
to apologize to Pippen and Will. I should have steamrolled with us, but I don't know. I guess young people, please go out and just watch. I beg of you, watch 20 minutes of Scottie Pippen and watch 20 minutes of Will Chamberlain, because
that
a lot of these, especially with Will Chamberlain, there are a lot of myths out there with Will Chamberlain that unfortunately they don't need to exist, because the real
guys,
man,
we got the tally in for that, and it looks like Mtel pulled that one out, 50-49. I don't know where the other percent went. I'm not sure. Mtel, you got that one. Mind you, that's not the end all be all. It's not over. Guys, you can still vote in the comment sections of Players' Choice videos. Like I said, we got an AI bot that will come and tally up all the votes, and we will vote for the next 4 weeks. Those votes will go to our seeding. It will go, like I said, we got the 16 best debaters on the internet. This round robin tournaments in our own brackets will make it to your seeding. Then we will go into the tournament 1 through 16 seeding, and we will really see who is the best basketball debater on the internet. I know who I got my money on, but that's neither here nor there. Guys, I appreciate both of y'all for coming up here and giving us great debates, great heat, great hoop talk. I will catch both of y'all later. Thank you, Pirate. Thank you, Mtel. See y'all next time. That was an amazing debate, y'all. Hey, leave in the chat so far what's been your favorite debate and favorite topic. Was it Klay versus Ray and Zeezy and Marz, or was it Scotty and Kawhi and Mtel and Pirate? Whoo, I am excited. It's 70 degrees out here, but it feels like 100. It's hot in here, y'all. This is the PCL. I'll be back in a minute and 30 seconds, y'all.
Kentucky woman, she gets to know you. She goes to own you. Kentucky woman, she gets to know you. She goes to own you. Kentucky woman, she gets to know you. She goes to own you. Kentucky woman, she gets to know you. She goes to own you.
Yo, whoever got that, I need y'all to send that to me. That's so hard. I like that. What did he say? Kentucky woman? Whatever he said, man. I like that. That was a nice vibe. Hey, y'all. Y'all know what y'all in for right now. Y'all are in for a treat. This is one of the most anticipated debates of not just week 1. This is one of the most anticipated debates of the whole PCL. Now, there's been some rumors going around. And mind you, I don't subscribe to these rumors, but nonetheless, there's still rumors going around that y'all might have to put your subtitles on because these two brothers speak Japanese. I don't believe so. I've heard both of these brothers come and cook on a regular basis. I'm gonna bring up my man, Gifted Hoops. What's up, Gifted?
What's good, Ox? How's it going, bro?
I'm chilling. You ready for this? You bringing the energy? You bringing some heat today?
Absolutely. I'm prepared.
No doubt. Do you want to address the crowd, address the chat before let Swipa come up?
Yeah, man, it was good chat. Overall, it's been a good overall event. I know Swipa Kim, we've known each other for a while through NBA Twitter and whatnot, so should be an overall fun debate. We got some pretty good topics lined up. I'm prepared and ready to go.
No doubt. Hey, Gifted, when you're not on From the Logo or any other PC, where can we find you?
Right here. And on my YouTube, Gifted Hoops. I also make content on Twitter as well during the regular season. Sometimes I do film breakdowns on playback. I just got a lot of stuff going on. I work full time on top of all these things, but I love basketball. So if I got some time, I put some videos out.
No doubt, no doubt. Shout out to you, Gifted. Staying busy, putting in great content. No doubt. I'm gonna bring you right back, Gifted. Let me holler at my man Swipa in the building. What's up, baby?
What's up? What's poppin', bro?
Swipa, you seem calm, you seem collected, you seem ready to go. Is that
I just woke up from a nap, my dog. I'm ready. I'm locked in.
Swipa, I'm not gonna let you play this role like, oh, it's no big deal. It's just I just do this. I do this. Is that how you feel it?
Look, I'm not a fully erect Klay, bro. So you know what I mean? I had to get my jumper ready and all that stuff. You know what I mean? Nothing crazy.
No doubt, no doubt. Well, do you wanna address the people, say anything to the chat before we get going?
No, all love to the chat, man. Everybody in the chat, you know, y'all brought me here. Y'all made me who I am today. So shout out to y'all, man. Appreciate y'all. All love.
W humbleness from you, Swipa. Where could the people find you when you're not on the panel or on other PC shows?
Mile High Sports, Locked On Nuggets 3 days a week, and Bleacher Report once a week. Obviously the YouTube channel, and then obviously Player's Choice, the panel, 3 days a week. Always here.
No doubt, no doubt. Swipa being the busy man. Gifted, I'm bringing you back up right now. JD, let's get the format right. Let's get these brothers warmed up. Let's get it going. Let's get it going. I'm so juiced right now. Yo, first debate. We got who's the better power forward between Charles Barkley and Karl Malone? Swipa, if I'm not mistaken, you got Barkley.
Yes, sir.
Right? Okay, make sure I'm on set. We're not even gonna waste no time on the coin flip because I don't even go off the coin toss anyway. I'm just messing around with quarters. I'm wasting change. Yo, Gifted, you want to go first or second?
I'll go first.
Go first. Let's get it then. Gifted, when you start, JD will start the time. Let's go, baby.
Yeah. So on the court, Karl Malone is the better basketball player, and the primary reason behind that is in the moment where he was dominating his era, he was looked at to be the best power forward at the time. Charles Barkley was behind him, and more importantly, what he was able to do in terms of longevity, the amount of prime seasons he has. He had 17 seasons in his NBA career, played 18 total, where he played 80 games. His amount of durability through those regular seasons to dominate consistently is a big part of why he's there. He's the only player not named Michael Jordan to average 31 points in the 90s, and a lot of that is because he was a super athletic freak where he could be one of the best pick and roll finishers ever. And then at the same time, as he progressed, he found different ways to play, developing his block work and his skills and becoming a better player in that area. And he was on many high win teams for that Utah Jazz crew who made it to the finals twice. He won 2 MVPs, and he has multiple seasons where he was all NBA and he was all defense 4 different times. Arguably, I think that Karl Malone at his best with John Stockton back there was a phenomenal 2-man pairing. But for John Stockton to get all of those assists, Karl Malone was a big part of that. There's a reason why Karl Malone is still top 5 in scoring today. That's how dominant he was as a player. And he's a better player than Charles Barkley, who, even though he was a good player, had some flaws.
Okay. Gifted left a couple seconds on the clock for you, Swipa. You got it, bro. When you start, the time will start too. Let's get it.
Yeah, I appreciate this conversation. I think that when you're having the conversation about Karl Malone versus Charles Barkley, what you're really doing, you're having a conversation about peak expectations given the roster, the floor raising capability, and also the level of competition that they play. So if you remember, Charles Barkley, when he walked into the league, by year 2 was a top 6 MVP candidate. From year 2 to year 9, Charles Barkley was 6'6", 4'6", 2, 4, 12, and 1 in the MVP race at the end of the season. Literally by year 6, he was already walking into a superstar. By the way, Charles Barkley was 9 straight years of 24 points per game and 10 rebounds a game and 4.5 assists per game. In the playoffs, he's legitimately one of the best playoff players of the 1990s and of his era. And during an 8-year stretch in the playoffs, he averaged 24.8, 12.1, and 4.1 assists per game on 1.7 steals and a block, and he shot 61% from 2. And I think a lot of people, when you think about Charles Barkley, because he's on television, people get this idea that he wasn't the dominant rebounder and scorer. Literally, of that era, there were people that were saying that he was right behind Hakeem Olajuwon and Michael Jordan as the third best player from the 1990 all the way to about 1995. Literally anything you asked him to do, he was able to do. He was even a positive defender, especially early on in his career. And he did this without ever having another true all-pro, all-NBA player next to him. So Charles broke everything, and he did everything at a super high level.
Yeah.
Right. Let's go. Gifted.
Yeah. So when it comes down to choosing who the better players, at the end of the day, both of these players were not able to win championships as the number one option. So what I look at next is, well, how long were your best years? How dominant were you in those years? And once again, when it comes down to Karl Malone, not only did he play 18 seasons in the NBA, but again, he finished top 4 in MVP 6 times. 6 different seasons, he was top 4 in MVP. And for his career, he averaged 25 and 10. And during his most dominant runs, he could average 29 or 27. And again, he found different ways to play. The reason why he's better than Charles Barkley is, sure, if you want to say Charles Barkley is an offensive player, I can understand that. But defensively, Charles Barkley had many different moments where he was a lazy overall defender. He was a liability that teams could pick on. And more importantly, his shot diet offensively cost his team a lot of times. People called him the Shaquille O'Neal of three-point shooting because he loved taking threes, despite the fact that he was never a good three-point shooter on volume. When it comes down to Karl Malone, he's a player that can fit into different styles based off how fast he gets up and down the floor, based off how he virtually never got hurt, and how physical and athletic that he was. There's a reason why he's top 5 in scoring, and there's a reason why he was able to play that many years in the NBA at a sustained excellence and high level. The only guy to basically get 2 MVPs at the same time where Michael Jordan was absolutely dominating his era, not named Hakeem. That's how good Karl Malone was.
Go ahead, Swipa. I'm not going to slow you down. You got it. Let's go.
Yeah, I think when you're talking MVPs and peak, I don't really think this is a conversation, namely because the year that Charles Barkley was able to go to the NBA Finals, he went and faced versus the Michael Jordan team, and during that final series, he averaged 27, 13, and 6. And despite the fact that you said he was an inefficient shooter, he shot 48% from the field in that finals. In game 1, 21, 11, and 5. Game 2 versus Michael Jordan in the NBA Finals, 42 points, 13 rebounds, 4 assists with a block and with a steal. And then in game 3, 24, 19, 4. And then he had a triple-double in game 4 with 32, 12, and 10. And so here's the thing. Charles Barkley literally was going band for band with the best player in the world and the best player of all time by this point for many people. And so I think a lot of this misnomer about him is that he didn't show up when it matters most. And defensively, he actually wasn't a bad defender until he got older. When he was young, because he was so athletic, because he was so explosive, and a part of it was his defensive rebounding. Because we make the same argument now for a lot of players. Charles Barkley was the single most dominant rebounder of his era. And on top of that, he was one of the best post scorers since the 1980s. He literally could score over anyone, anywhere, at any point in time. And had Charles Barkley had more consistent help during that NBA final, then he would have been the one to take down Michael Jordan. And we don't make that same argument for Karl Malone and for John Stockton. He never played with a player as good as John Stockton in his prime either. So to me, it's not a conversation.
Let's go.
Yeah.
You got it?
Yes. So for me, it's not a conversation. I agree with Swiper there. It's Karl Malone. The reason why is he brought up one key word: consistency. The biggest thing that's known about Charles Barkley is, as explosive as he was, his consistency came into question. Swiper mentioned the fact that he shot 48%. Again, that's cool. But I specifically pointed out three-point shooting, where he had a season where he was top 25 in three-point attempts, and he was not a good shooter. At the end of the day, Karl Malone can play different styles. He hustles way better than him. And more importantly, in terms of consistency, he had, again, 17 seasons of 80 games, multiple 25 25 point per game seasons with Stockton. A lot of people give Stockton credit, and rightfully so. He was a good overall decision maker, but Karl Malone is like that because of how he was able to finish and how he built his skills every single season. And at the later end of his years, he was able to play a different style where he could become a very good post passer as well. Charles Barkley did not have extended excellence. We're talking about greatness. You are speaking to how many seasons were you able to do it? And the only other team outside of the Rockets who didn't have to play Michael Jordan in the NBA Finals, that made it to the finals twice to challenge them, was that Utah Jazz team. Charles Barkley defense is not portable enough to justify giving him all of that usage in a vacuum. Karl Malone, at the very least, based on what he can do on both ends of the floor, especially matching scoring production, despite the fact that Charles might be more skilled, is why he's the better player.
Hey, Swipa, whenever you're ready, bro, bring it on home.
So Charles, at that point in time, and especially if we're having, again, that's why it has to be about peak and overall floor racing. Charles never played next to a player as good as John Stockton. He never had a distributor. And again, John Stockton, even at that point in time, was marked as a good defender for a lot of people. Again, relative to the era, we get that. But for Charles Barkley, again, he was able to do this carrying a Phoenix Suns team. They had another all-star on the roster, but he was mostly known as a shooter. And again, Kevin Johnson and them being on the roster, he was able to take that team to 62 wins. And even when you're having all-time debates, that MVP that Charles Barkley won, he won it when Michael Jordan was at his apex, when Hakeem Olajuwon was at his apex. They finished number 2 and number 3 this season. That he won that MVP award. And again, by the time he went to the NBA playoffs, you talked about longevity. Again, I brought it up earlier, 9 straight years for Charles Barkley when he got to the playoffs with 24 and 10 with nearly 4 assists per game on good efficiency. And again, he played versus the very best of the best. Whether it was David Robinson, whether it was Michael Jordan, whether it was Hakeem, it really didn't matter. Charles was able to elevate his performance in the playoffs when it mattered consistently. And again, this isn't a 5, 6, or 7-year stretch. This is a 9-year stretch when this was happening. And he did this when Jordan and others were still at their apex, and including battling the Spurs in that early 90s. And again, he also took down the Seattle Supersonics when they had Sean Kemp, and he was taking his team to where they were going. So across the board, Charles Barkley was just a better player.
Damn it. Oh, I want another round. I want to go 4 rounds. We need 4 rounds of this one. Unfortunately, I can't lose my gig. So, JD, drop that poll. Let's get straight to it. Fellas, that was a hell of a debate, y'all. Hell of a debate. How we feeling about that? Gifted, how you feel about that topic in general?
I feel good. I feel like that topic is a very interesting one because, again, I do believe that Charles Barkley has more pop, but in terms of durability, in terms of all of the other aspects.
We're not going to keep debating now, Gifted.
My fault. I'm sorry.
How you feel about the topic?
I think Swipa made some good points. I think that this is a good conversation for those two types of players because that 90s, like a lot of it comes down to Jordan talks or Hakeem talks, but the other greats of the era aren't really talked about much. So I'm happy that me and Swipa were able to discuss that here.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah,
I feel like guys that don't get rings are overlooked. What about you?
Yeah, I honestly think a lot of people just didn't watch Chuck, bro. I mean, Chuck was like honestly like a beast, and I think because later in the 90s you got a chance to see Malone, I think he had more eyes on him. And again, Chuck is so funny and he's so personable, but literally at the time, and Gifted knows this, like there were people that thought he might be the second best player in the world, like 92, 93, 94. So I mean, he's one of one. So it was a great
right now. Swipe is pulling away with this poll right now, but we still got 25 seconds left of voting. I want to remind you all, this voting is not the end. So if you might win the poll right now, but then the AI will calculate the comment votes in later episodes for the next 4 weeks. And so it is a continuous vote. I do, right? I love the technology that we're using here on Player's Choice. I mean, we are a step ahead of the rest. Name me another platform that's on our level. Okay, the poll is over. Let's see what we got. Looks like Swipa took that one. Heck of a round. Good job, guys. Good job. The next debate is going to be about who had the most the best underdog story, the best Cinderella ring. Swipa, I believe you got the 2011 Mavericks, and Gifted, you have the 1994 Houston Rockets. Is that correct?
Yep, 94, 95. Yep.
Okay. Yeah, the question is Yes, sir. So this two-parter says greatest underdog story, and then it also said which was the greatest championship run. That's the distinction, right?
Right. Yes, that's what I got
Okay.
here as well.
I got you. Okay, just make sure.
In Swipa, I have you going first this round. Gifted went first the next round. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna jump straight in. I don't want to stop this momentum. This is a hell of a debate. I told y'all this is one of the most anticipated debates that we have in the whole PCL. You know what I mean? The only time we're gonna get a better debate is when one of these two kind of gets smoked by me. But in the meantime, Swiper, let's get going. When you get started, the clock will start.
Yeah, so when we're talking underdog story, this isn't much of a conversation for me. And the reason is that because when Hakeem Olajuwon came out of the draft, he was the consensus, not a question, consensus #1 overall pick in that draft. Now, he ended up vindicating that by being the best player of his era outside of Michael Jordan. And again, he won MVPs, he won championships, he did everything he was supposed to do. But when he came out of Houston, there was no conversation, no question. But with Dirk slid to the 9th overall pick, and the Dallas Mavericks traded out a 6 in order to get Dirk. And then when they did it because they saw him play in a tournament. And in that Nike Hoop Summit, they saw this man do things they hadn't seen from a big. They wanted him to be the 3rd star with Michael Finley and with Steve Nash. They traded out of that 6th pick, got cash exceptions back, got him at 9, and then the rest was history. But again, he didn't have the carpet laid out for him at that point, and he didn't even have the carpet laid out for him early on in his career. He had to work to get to a situation where people thought he was a bona fide superstar and accepted him for who he was. So if you're asking who's the better underdog story and who had to overcome more adversity or who had to do more to prove themselves, well, it was Dirk. Because remember, in 1998, international players that did not play here in America, they were not getting the due that they deserved. And a lot of this is because there had been some misses up to this point leading into the NBA draft. And so when Dirk came around, he slid to 9 because people didn't believe that kind of big would translate. And then he set the record straight by being one of the best players of all time.
Let's go ahead, Gifted. I'm not going to slow you down.
How many third teams in NBA history have won NBA championships? 8. Dallas was a 3rd seed. How many seeds in NBA history at 6 have gone on to win the title? 1. And that's the 94-95 Rockets. That Rockets team is the team that fresh off of the title had title aspirations. But as people know, when you win one championship, that's phenomenal. But there's levels to greatness. There's tiers to greatness, right? To prove your stamp, to prove that you're really, really good, a lot of teams have to win again or go back to back. And there's not that many teams that have gone back to back in NBA history. The 94-95 Rockets was after having a hectic regular season where they traded for Drexler. They had guys in and out of the lineup. Hakeem was injured, and they went into the playoffs as a 6 seed. As we all know, Hakeem Olajuwon is a top 10 player of all time. A lot of that is because of his play within these 2 years. And specifically for this year for the Houston Rockets, they were tested and faced way more adversity as an overall than what the Dallas Mavericks had to do round by round by round by round. What Hakeem had to do on both ends, not just offensively, because Hakeem also had his work cut out for him as a player, transitioning from soccer to basketball, developing his skill sets on both ends of the ball for 2 years to cement a back-to-back title run that cemented his legacy as a top 10 player is why that's a bigger underdog run to me as a collective than what the Dallas Mavericks had to do.
Great first round. Great first round. I'm not going to stop this momentum. Come on, Swiper. Bring it on, brother.
Yeah, I mean, if we're just talking about individual seasons, which is more impressive, more significant, it's the 2011 Dallas Mavericks. Again, Dirk in that NBA playoffs averaged 27.7 points per game, 8.1 rebounds, 2.5 assists, and he shot 49% from 2, 46% from 3. And y'all, everybody knows he's a great mid-range shooter, but did you know over that run, Dirk shot 1/3 of his shots from mid-range? He shot 47% as a mid-range shooter from 10 to 16 feet over that run. In that run, they beat Portland 4-2. He averaged 27, 8, and 3 on 45, 44, 89. He then swept the defending champion Kobe Bryant, Pau Gasol, Los Angeles Lakers, with averaging 25, 9, and 3 on 57, 73, 94. He then faced versus Russell Westbrook, Kevin Durant, James Harden, averaged 32, 6, and 3 on 56, 36, 97, 4-2. And then versus LeBron James, Everybody said they were going to be the champion. Everybody said going into the season, this is the dynasty. They were going to be the team to rewrite the record book. We're going to see a 3-time champion like we hadn't seen since the Los Angeles Lakers, and Dirk put them down in that series, 26-10-2, 42-37-97, and put it to rest. Bouncing back after getting out the first round in 2007, and he does it in 2011 with one of the most incredible runs of all time, one of the best scoring runs you've ever seen, and does it versus the best level of competition you've ever seen. No question.
Let's go, Gifted. Let's go.
The best level of competition was clearly the Rockets. And the reason why is, notice, Swipa led with the Trailblazers. How about a 60-win Jazz team where in the first round back then, it was only a 5-game series. They had to go out to Utah and win game 5 on the road against, again, a 60-win Jazz team. They won game 5 on the road. Then after that, they move on. Again, the Mavericks, in terms of the collective, their adversity is not the same when they then move on to a Suns team, right? And this goes back to Swipa just saying Charles Barkley was a better player than Karl Malone. They go down 3-1. At that time, it was only 3 other teams in NBA history who came back from down 3-1. They said that this team didn't have it together. They didn't have enough. Hakeem wasn't there. They come back 3-1 against the Suns when it wasn't popular to do that. They came back and won. Then they go to the finals against a David Robinson-led Spurs, who was the best team in the Western Conference. Again, a very high win team, 60 wins. And at the same time, the Suns were a 59-win team. They then beat them. Hakeem is giving David Robinson the work. They cannot guard him. He literally averages 35, 12, and 5 with 4 blocks a game. Then he gets to the finals where people think the Magic might be young, but the fact that they were able to beat Michael Jordan in that same run, they take them seriously and they sweep them after going down 20-something plus in game 1. They win that game. They dominate them the rest of the way, where Hakeem averages 32.3 points per 75, 10 with a plus 8.9 playoff offense. That's what he was leading. And on both ends defensively, he was the best defender in the world.
Sorry, I had to mute you, Gifted. Though. Great points. Hey, we got one more round of this topic. It's a fire topic. This is a fire debate. This is getting heated. Yo, whoever told you that these brothers be yapping, told you wrong. This is straight hoop talk. Real debates. Let's go, Swipa.
Yeah, I mean, I really appreciate the enthusiasm in your argument, and I think you make some valid points. But again, if you're comparing it to 2011, a part of 2011 is the context behind the season. Going into that year, despite the regular season success, everyone was down on Dirk and the Dallas Mavericks. Nobody thought they had a legitimate chance. Once they got past Portland and said, cool, the real playoffs are going to start. And again, it's not like Kobe and Powell and them went into the series not being the favorite. They were the prohibited favorite. Everybody believed at this point that either Kobe or LeBron was the best player in the world. And so going into the series, they had to be willing to put together a masterclass in order to win the vote of approval from the public, because it couldn't be tight. They made it to where it wasn't a question. Again, back to back. They were already champions, back-to-back champions. They step onto the court with the Dallas Mavericks, and they literally get swept. Do not win a game. So over the course of this run, some of the best players that we have ever seen in our lives, the best players were some of the best peaks in Kobe, in Durant, in Westbrook, and then LeBron James. Dwayne Wade was still Dwayne Wade in this run, and they had Chris Bosh. He took all of them down. The Mavericks took all of them down. Tyson Chandler gets acquired to that team, defensive player of the year level performance. Jason Kidd comes over there, leans on the three-point shot and the playmaking. They got a bunch of players knowing exactly what they're supposed to do, and they literally walk through the Western Conference, and then they walk through LeBron James in the Eastern Conference so bad where people are still bringing that up 13 years later. It's better than anything he got.
Bring it home, Gifted.
Okay, so notice how he said walk through the Western Conference. I can't say the same because they actually faced tougher competition in the Western Conference than what Dallas did to make it to the finals. Again, a 60-win team in the first round. As a 6 seed, you do not have home court advantage. You're playing nothing but home court teams that are better than you. And then above all else, we're talking about adversity during the run. Again, beating a 60-win team where you have to win the closeout game on the road is adversity. Going down 3-1 against the Phoenix Suns, who won 59 games that year, is going through adversity. Only truly great players can overcome that type of adversity. Then going to face the Spurs, where they had the MVP of the season, the MVP over Hakeem, because Hakeem had some injury stuff going on, and he was cooking him. David Robinson, a guy who looked to be one of the best winners of all time, was getting torched and destroyed by Hakeem. Hakeem was floor raised in such an insane roster. And then when they get to the finals, people favored the Magic. They were not favored in any series. Why? Because they were the 6th seed. And once again, we're talking about pressure, right? When you win a NBA championship, there is no bigger pressure because every team puts a target on your back. That's why few teams go back to back, and that's why they face more adversity. And speaking about the Miami Heat at the very end, again, credits to Dallas for doing what they had to do. But a lot of people, even to this day, agree that LeBron James did not play at his level at all. And if he was even baseline, that series might look slightly different. For this Rockets team, at every point they were counted out.
Drop the poll, JD. Drop the poll. Drop the poll. Drop the poll, JD. Guys, this is the PCL, Players' Choice League, Players' Choice Debate League, where we have the 16 best debaters on the internet, on the best sports channel on the internet. 4 divisions, 4 great debaters in each division. We will battle it out for 4 straight weeks, giving you nothing but hot topics and straight heat like you're getting right now. At the end of those 4 weeks, we will start the playoffs. This is all about seeding. Every debate matters because if you lose, you're gonna mess around and face me first round. Hopefully, I get Marz. That's neither here nor there. But guys, you guys are really, really bringing the heat right now. Great debate. Great first round. Y'all make sure y'all get in there and vote. Let's vote, y'all. Let's vote. Hey, exercise your right to vote, man. Right now, Gifted is pulling away with this one. But we still got 25 seconds left. If this poll ends like it is right now, this 3rd round will be for all the chips. This will be for all the chips. And the topic for this 3rd round I have right here in front of me. It's the Bad Boys Pistons versus the 2004 Pistons. We're talking about who's the best defensive team, correct, fellas?
Yes.
And Swipa, you have the Bad Boys. Gifted, you have 04?
Yes.
Okay. Well, we'll get to it in a second. That poll is wrapped up. Gifted. Damn, Swipa, you got packed up. It's all good. This is for all the chips. Gifted, you got the 2004 Pistons. Better defense team, guys. So everybody in the chat, y'all know what you're voting for. We are talking about straight defense. Bad Boy Pistons versus 2004 Pistons. Gifted is getting ready to kick it off right now. Gifted, you're from Detroit, ain't you?
Yes, sir.
Don't let your city down, brother. Don't let your city down right here with this topic. Let's go. When you start, the time will start. Let's go.
The topic is defense. Defense. Who is the better defensive team? Not better team. Who is the better defensive team? The answer is clearly the 2004 Pistons, and it's really not a conversation. Respect to the Bad Boy Pistons who played in a different era. Their type of defense was where they were more physical in spots. They had the Jordan rules going on. But in terms of defense, it was the 2004 Pistons. Whenever we see a great defensive team, the 2022 Boston Celtics, even the Timberwolves in this playoffs, we always ask, were they better than the 2004 Pistons on defense? But it's never, were they better than the Bad Boy Pistons? That starting 5 of Billups, Hamilton, Prince, Wallace, all of them together with Prince came together and really dominated their aspects specifically. They allowed the least amount of points per game in the playoffs of any length. 5-game series, 4-game series, whatever you want to call it, they have the lowest amount of points per game. They were not scoring on that Pistons defense. And more importantly, they did not have a superstar. They didn't have a top 10 player like Isaiah Thomas in that lineup to build them out of offense. They had to play together like a string on offense, but their heart and their identity was on the defensive end. And that's why they were able to pull off one of the biggest upsets we've ever seen at the biggest stage. They have the lowest defensive rating in playoff history. That's how dominant of a team this defense is. And even now in 2024, you're hearing talks about their defense. Whenever defense comes up, more than the Bad Boy Pistons. The answer is clearly the 2004 Pistons for being the better defense.
Fight back, Swiper. Let's go.
Yeah, I mean, which year are we talking about first? I mean, I guess I'll start with 88, 89. So, again, people got to remember, like, at this point in time, he brought up Isaiah Thomas in the offense, but the team was stacked. Dennis Rodman, Bill Laimbeer, Joe Dumars, Isaiah Thomas, Mark Aguirre, Vinnie Johnson, John Sally, Scott Hastings. They were loaded with defenders. And at that point in time, when they won the NBA Finals that year, like, again, I don't want to rewrite history on what exactly happened because it wasn't their offense that got it done. That year, Dennis Rodman finished third in the DPOY race, but that year in the playoff, they took down Boston 3-0. They took down the Bucks 4-0. They took down the Bulls 4-2. That season, y'all, Michael Jordan finished second in the MVP race for the Bulls. They held them to a 103.1 offensive rating with Michael Jordan on the Bulls and held him to 46% from the field. And then, by the way, they go to the NBA Finals. And what happens in the NBA Finals? They play versus Magic Johnson, the same Magic that won the MVP that year, one of the most dominant offensive seasons of Magic's career. And they beat them in not 1, 2, 3, 4 straight games. It was a sweep, and it was their defense. That team had Magic, Kareem, and James Worthy, and Michael Cooper, and they got swept. So if you're asking who the better defense was to name the competition, the fact of the matter is they saw Jordan, they saw the Celtics, and they saw Magic and took them down and held everybody below expectation, and they didn't have to worry about playing somebody hurt on the other end because they were all at their age.
So I find this funny because, again, I want to be clear about this. The lowest defensive rating in playoff history. The 2004 Pistons defense allowed under 40% field goal percentage for entire NBA teams in 12 playoff games. After they made the Rasheed trade, they literally allowed under 79.7 points per game for the rest of the season, including playoffs, right? He wants to bring up competition. Shaquille O'Neal, as a dominant big man who in the finals during his three-peats averaged at minimum 33. Guess what he averaged against the Detroit Pistons? 26. Was he efficient from the floor? Sure. But in terms of making him work for that 26, they made them work. They played him single coverage. They were trapping Kobe, and they made it a problem. And guess what else people don't really remember? They might have swept the Lakers if Kobe does not hit a big jumper to send it to OT in game 2. They might have swept them. So they didn't just beat this team. They were dominating this team. Okay, they were dominating them. When you think about a team like that, again, imagine allowing under 90 points in 18 playoff games. That is how dominant this team was. And again, they just played a balanced enough offense to get by, but by no means did they have a superstar that was, a ball hogging and really floor carrying the entire load. This was a team effort. And again, it's not about who's the better team. It's about who had the better defense. They do not have those numbers. Swipa bragged about being under 101 points per game. How about 90.2? What's your answer for that?
Let's go, Swiper. I'm not going to stop this momentum. This is a hell of a debate. Let's go.
Yeah, and again, I think, if you're asking relative to the era and who they played, I think that bad boy Pistons team, their hallmark, the calling card for that team was their defense. And again, I know a lot of people bring up physicality and they bring up the Jordan rules. And for them, people talk about that basketball like it's antiquated because for them, it's the physicality, it's people coming into the paint, it's the dominance, it's the fact that when you were jumping into the air, there's this whole thing about okay, if Jordan jumped, I'm going to foul him, we're going to bring him to the ground. But it wasn't just that. It was just the level of engagement they had on a play-by-play basis. And so even just beyond the basic numbers, teams were afraid to play versus that defense because of how big, how strong, and how physical they were. And so, again, they went to 3 straight finals. Now, they only won 2 of those finals, and then granted, Magic was hurt. He was not himself in that last one. But if you just read up to what happened, or at least in the 89 final, when you read up to what happened with them, they were able to take apart offenses consistently, and it didn't matter who it was. Again, it didn't matter if it was the Celtics, didn't matter if it was the Bucks, didn't matter if it was anybody. They were able to take these teams down. And even for Michael Jordan, until they got to the point where they could ask Scottie Pippen and they can fully integrate what they were doing with Phil Jackson, they weren't able to beat this team. There was just a level of engagement that they were able to play with consistently. Even Isaiah Thomas, as small as he was never like an elite level defender, but he was more than passable. And so you put them on the team. And again, Bill Laimbeer, by the way, and Dennis Rodman were 2 of the best rebounders in the league. And Dennis Rodman won a DPOY over the stretch as well. They had anything and everything you needed to be a great defensive team.
Ooh, fellas. Last round of this topic. Great topic, man. Let's do it for Detroit. Do it for the D. Let's go, Gifty.
When we speak about the 04 Pistons, they're looked at to be an anomaly team because when they made it to the finals, despite people knowing about Shaq and Kobe not being on the same page, they still picked them because there's no way this Pistons team can beat them. They don't have a guy averaging 18. They didn't have some crazy all-NBA player, and yet they were able to hold the Lakers to 68 points in a playoff game. They're one of two teams to allow under 60 points in a playoff game. And again, I've keep asking Swipa to show me the stats in terms of defensive rating where they perform better than them. Tell me if they could run the same system the Pistons did to stop Shaq, where they can play him single coverage. Ben Wallace is one of the most special defensive players ever because of what he was able to do, and specifically how he was able to play Shaq straight up while they trapped Kobe. That's what they were able to do. And again, defense was their calling card. They didn't have some star offensive player, so they had to dial in and get contributions from many players. You're talking about being connected. This is a team that made a trade for Rasheed Wallace midseason, a core part of their run. They didn't have him for 2 seasons. They didn't have him for a full offseason. They had him for the rest of the regular season, and they figured out their chemistry and won. They won 7 games against the Nets. Their last coach in Carlisle, who was then pivoted to the Pacers, that was the whole thing. They beat them. Then they go to the finals and they beat the Lakers. Shaquille goes from putting up 33 points per game to 26. That 2004 defense is better. They allowed the lowest defense of any team, and the Bad Boy Pistons are included in that. There's no response for that.
Let's go, Swiper. Let's go. Let's end it on a bang.
Pair
Start over, Swiper. Let's
You
go.
good?
Yeah, we good.
Yeah, I think it's a little bit disingenuous to compare eras, given that we know there's a different pace being played between the two teams. And again, you're saying Shaq, I'm bringing up Michael Jordan. And so we also know this for a fact. So then sometimes you just got to like scrap the numbers. They went 8-1 versus the Lakers and then versus the Blazers in back-to-back NBA finals. 8-1. Again, that's Kareem, that's James Worthy, that's Clyde Drexler, that's Jerome Kersey, and that's Terry Porter. These were like both very good teams and very good offensive teams, and they could hardly score versus this team. Again, Bill Laimbeer and Dennis Rodman were two of the best defensive and offensive rebounders in the league. They had the size, they had the physicality, and I can't say what they would have done versus Shaq because that was 16 years later. But what I can tell you is they put Jordan in a box. What I can tell you, they put the Lakers in a box. What I can tell you, they put the Portland Trail Blazers in a box. So when they needed to show up defensively versus the team they played in their era, there was no question who the better team was. In the regular season, in one of those years, they might have finished third in defensive rating. But come playoff time, they locked everybody up. And so I think when you're having an overall defense conversation, it's always great to bring up defensive rating. But we all know that stuff is inflated by air. That stuff is inflated by pace. You could have a hot shooting night, a hot shooting team over a series, and that can mess up everything. But they held the Portland Trail Blazers below their defensive rating throughout the playoffs. In that NBA Finals, they took care of business. 2 back-to-back finals they won off of the back of their defense. So, again, Bad Boy Pistons, they take the cake every day.
Congratulations, fellas. That was a hell of a debate. I'm talking about round 1, round 2, round 3. Y'all came up and did y'all thing. Don't worry about what the head is saying, man. Y'all wasn't speaking no Japanese as far as I'm concerned. Y'all was straight hoop talk. JD, drop the poll. You know, if it was up to me, we would have went 5 rounds on that topic. But Claire texted me earlier, and she threatened my life if I deviated from the plan at all. Claire threatened me with bodily harm if I deviated from the plan at all. So we're just going to stick to the script and let's just keep it how it is, y'all. Keep it how it is, man. Make sure y'all are voting on this poll, y'all. Fellas, this was the last debate of the night. So I need some input, y'all. I need y'all to holler at me. How did y'all feel about the day as a whole? Did y'all see the first 2 debates? Well, I know you was taking a nap, Swipe, but how did y'all feel about this?
No, I think, first off, Gifted is, my little bro. Like, I don't say little disrespectfully, but little bro, he's younger than me. So, like, he's my little bro. But, he's really good at what he does. He's a great mind. I love the way he talks hoops, threads on Twitter, all that stuff. And so, this was like very formidable discussion. And I think you did a great job on that Houston Rockets in '94 season. You even brought up some points that I knew that I wasn't going to be able to, back up with the 2011 run. So everybody did well today. I think everybody got their own flavor. I was not expecting to hear a fully erect Klay, but I'm not going to lie to you. That was my favorite moment of the day. No problem. Yeah, it was about Will Chamberlain. Again, you asked me, I don't know. I don't know how it got brought up, but apparently that was the thing. So great second day, PCL.
Yeah, I can't knock it. Overall, I think the debates were pretty good. I can't complain. So
Right.
cool.
The results are in. Looks like Swipa got that one for all the chips so far. But once again, don't worry about nothing. Gifted, we got 4 weeks. Anybody that goes back and watch this, feel free to vote. Feel free to vote. Guys, thank you. Swipa, thank you. Gifted, thank you. I appreciate y'all. Hey, make sure y'all ready for next week. It's going down. Do y'all know who your opponents are next week?
No, I gotta actually peep the schedule. I was editing all day long. Let me see real quick.
What about you, Swiper? You know who you got next week?
Nope.
Oh, y'all fellas better get prepared. After seeing this,
I thought it was
debate,
single elimination. I'm not gonna lie to you. I was ready for a knockout blow every single day.
Oh no. After this debate, I guarantee you, whoever got you next week is coming prepared. So y'all brothers better get there, get your minds right, get ready for hoop. Yo, Swiper, I'll see you tomorrow anyway. So or whenever you come in this week, I'm gonna see you this week. So I'm gonna be sure to be at you to make sure you're practicing on these debate skills. I'm gonna be cooking you, putting you in a box. So be ready for that.
Yeah, no problem. Yeah, can't wait.
Salute.
All right, y'all. Good work today.
Yo. Good.
Hey, once again, this is the PCL, the best sports channel on the internet with the best 16 debaters we could find. Y'all know most of the people up here. Y'all stay tuned in because it's going to be 4 weeks of debates. 4 weeks of debates every Wednesday, every Sunday, bringing heat 4 weeks straight. After that, we go to the tournament. In the tournament, these 4 weeks determine your seeding. Guys, this is the best debate league I've ever seen. I've never seen anything like this. Y'all be ready. I will see y'all next time. Thanks for showing up. Make sure that you go to the comment section of all the other videos you see all these brothers in, and y'all make sure that y'all vote in that comment section. Vote in that comment section because we have an AI bot that's going to tally all of those votes up. You don't got to worry. You don't got to worry about making your vote in the comment section and somebody trying to cycle through and figure it out. We're using technology. Over here at Players Choice, we are ahead of the game. There is no channel like this. Thank y'all for showing up. We love y'all. Love yourself. See y'all tomorrow on the panel. Don't be late.